Thank you, David. Central's captain, Danny Holmes, won the toss. He's kicking left of screen. First bounce of the afternoon. Radley Moller gets the first tap forward. Taken quickly with Tregenza. Outstanding performance last week with 36 possessions. Ball comes in, half forward. Binky gets his hands to the football. Good work off the football by Danny Holmes again. Kick towards the boundary. Should be out over line. It is.
Hereda and Brosnan, Tim, were very hard at it.
That's what you'd expect, David.
And Hicks has the job on Binky. Brosnan in ruck, but it was Chalmers from behind who thumped it down. 21 is Gowans, the new recruit from St Kilda, playing his first senior game for the Bulldogs, but it was Fraser, the former Essendon supplementary list player, who took the ball across the line. Well, conditions are hot. It will be a test of fitness for the players. You just wonder, Central District have recruited wonderfully well. Clever work, Fraser to McGuinness, a long bomb into the forward line. Hicks drops back on it. Binky claims him, that's holding the ball. No, says the umpire, no, prior opportunity.
Probably was a bit quick, David, and wrapped him up in the tackle beautifully, Brian Binky, and brought him to ground. So Craig Dodderidge probably gave him the benefit of the doubt.
Joe Hicks applying the tackle, 5th in last year's best and fairest. Binky again goes at it, but it's taken away by Fraser, who's dumped unceremoniously by Moller. And again, the umpire will come and bounce.
Good start by Moller too. He's been very aggressive. He's won the 2 or 3 contests in the air so far.
Ball down, 15 metres out for the Magpies. Bellows in there again, throws the football backwards. Good pickup. Centrals go forward once again. With the jump across half forward. The back of Chalmers jumped and took the football out of the end. Orman Allen gives the football back. 38 is Stengline, heads towards centre half forward. Holm couldn't quite take it. In there again is Hicks. He's tackled quickly from behind. Again, players in very aggressively early. And we might go down to the boundary line with Michael Parsons and the Centrals bench.
Slade just waiting their turn.
Thanks, Michael, for that. We welcome Michael Parsons to our commentary team for the year 2000 season. Great to have you back. The Bulldogs into attack. Gowans, gee, showed great courage backing back. Chalmers just crashed into him. Orman Allen just keeps it in, had a little fumble. Stengline tried to hand it away almost got through traffic. It was smothered. Murray Hamblin streaks away, delivers it up towards centre half forward. Who can get there first? Nobody. Crashing out was Danny Stevens for Central. Northeast off the ground. No mark taken, said the umpire, and play on the call as Tregenza. Best on ground last week against the Eagles, goes forward again, and a big mark. Brent Guerra. Well, he's a boom recruit, Tim, and he showed why then.
Only a young man, but geez, he's built like a lad 3 or 4 years older than what he is.
Bulldogs taking it up to the Magpies early. They go forward towards centre half forward. Comes to the ground again. Trent Orman Allen in there. Couldn't quite pick the football up. Knocked down there by Chalmers. Again, Orman Allen in for the football. Magpies just trying to clear the zone. Nigel Feger comes out with it. Throws it on the football quickly. At the Stengline again. That's about his 4th possession so far in this quarter. Started very, very well. Great work again by Danny Holm. He is working hard, very aggressively at the body. Coming across to McGuinness. Heads up, coming across the back was Radley Moller, but in front, a terrific mark by Brian Binky.
Beautiful hands then, wasn't it, Binks? He just flew across the front of the pack there. Eyes only for the football.
2 on 1, and that's his great asset, and it is a great kick, a perfect kick almost. Smith, who debuted with 6 goals last week for Port Adelaide, couldn't quite get to that one, and you just suspect him that Stephen Williams wouldn't be happy he's leading into that dead pocket.
It's probably a little bit wide, but the option, I suppose, was there because the centre corridor was blocked.
Moller, too tall for Binky, thumps it down. 14 was Damien Hicks, drives it forward. Stengline playing very well in the opening 3.5 minutes. Possession, you're quite right. Getting a bit of the ball.
Well, he's actually playing on a wing, David. He's done a lot of his football in defence and sometimes up forward, but
blood rule.
Ricky McGowan coming off for that.
Well, what a good replacement. Scott Lee comes off Rick McGowan. 2 of the toughest footballers in the game. Just a little bit of a scratch on the elbow, and McGowan will have that treated and come back on quickly. There's Stengline from half forward. Smith gets the lead, but it's a short one. It goes over the top, and a good diving mark taken, Mark Clayton. So the halfback flanker drifts down to half forward, and he's 60 metres out. He is a penetrating kick. He'll bomb it right to the point of the square. 2 on 4, Port Adelaide. 1 back grab, 2 grabs, couldn't bring it down. It was Binky, but now working it out solidly. Joe Hicks goes defensively.
Bulldogs have got the numbers out wide. The Magpies Army, they're back there again. Well supported by Carter. Carter kicks the ball up again. The Magpies should get inside 50. They do. Heads towards the boundary line. One grab there by Smith, but good work from behind by Geister. As we see McGowan on the boundary line, just getting a band-aid or an adhesive across that cut on the elbow. Should be back on fairly soon.
Magpies want to get a quick start here. Always found in Elizabeth, if you didn't get a good first half in, you're always chasing Guernseys.
Brosnan down to McGuinness, who snaps for goal. It's a point. So first score on the board, and it's to Port Adelaide, a point.
As I was saying, David, it just makes it difficult if you're behind at half-time in Elizabeth. It's awfully difficult to play catch-up footy on such a big ground. And they do know the Oval so well. They've got a real good home ground advantage.
Geister's found a bit of space out wide. Comes onto his right boot, kicks it down the line. Coming out first to meet the football will be Clayton. He's taken on pretty hard there by Lee, but just brushed him aside. The kick wasn't good by Clayton. And Bello cleans up. He's quick, left leg, comes inside. Good contest on again. Tregenza comes through very hard. Eyes for the football only. Fraser over his shoulder. Line kick, but he's found a Magpie player playing in front in Brosnan. So Brosnan 65 yards out. Peters out. Short kick across, finds McGuinness. McGowan just getting ready to come back on. Scotty Lee will come off. McGuinness, good work by Chalmers. The kick wasn't good. Hard again, 33 for the Magpies is O'Loughlin. Good hand, good support by McGuinness around his body again. He had the first shot. The second shot is a goal. So 1-1 to McGuinness, and that's the Maggie's first goal for the afternoon.
Well, excellent work to back up then by Phil McGuinness, because his actual first kick was correct in his idea to get it short to Chalmers, who would have made the distance easily, but he overkicked, missed Chalmers. Chalmers did well to get back and give the little gift to McGuinness, but McGuinness backed up his mistake, which is all you can do when you do make a mistake, and he kicked a beautiful goal.
It's interesting, Tim, because Chalmers wrestled it out of O'Loughlin's arms and then gave away the handball. So he's fired up today, and he's playing in ruck from the left of screen. It's 1-1 to no score. Port Adelaide, with Fraser and Stengline picking up plenty of the ball, are looking pretty good. Gowans gets through traffic, sneaks away the handball. Off it goes to Michael Stevens, and he goes short. Doesn't hit the target. Play on, said the umpire, as Carter tries to crash through. Keenan Ford has got him. It was a good tackle around the corner. Danny Stevens heads towards the goals, but it's just a point, but Centrals are on the board.
That's their first score, but looked a lot better. They got it right into the corridor then, and Danny Stevens a beautiful hook around his body, but didn't quite finish it off.
They go to Michael Parsons once again for the Port Adelaide bench.
Yeah, it's not a bad quality one either, is it, chaps? You've got Daniel Morgan, big Damien Brown waiting for his turn in ruck, and the young left footer that we're all very keen to see in Didak.
Orman Allen flies early. Good work by Vardy. His first touch of the afternoon. The umpire made a pay to free against him, just held the football a bit too long. For the Magpies. Kick across the face of goal. You don't see that too often to Northeast. Northeast runs away from forward. He's tackled as he's kicked it. He's gained no advantage here. In front again is Clayton. He too is tackled from behind by Gowans. The ball's out of bounds. It should be. It's out of bounds on the full. And the Bulldogs will bring it back in.
Well, good pressure from behind. Centrals want to keep that ball in their forward line. That's the sort of desperation they need to show. Well done by McCardle.
Short, Clayton. At the back, Trent Orman Allen feeds it to Clayton. They're working it out pretty well. Tregenza looks comfortable at home with David Brown's absence. Playing out of the middle, he looks very comfortable. It's Steed, who was so positive and powerful last week, but this kick was very wasteful. Just wonder about them bringing it in like that. Hamblin, short over the top. They're working that out pretty well, aren't they? Moller got it off in the finish to Guerra. In turn, has Bello, the best and fairest from last year, running wide, picking up plenty of the ball. Now over the top of it, Barty crashes through, gets out the handball. 51 is Daniel Healy, and well, he set it up nicely. It might still work for them, as Hicks gives it off quickly to Chris Gowan, and Gowans has got it. A point.
Well, for all the hard work that was done there, I think they should have got a better result out of that, Centrals. Set it up well. The kick from Daniel Healy probably just had a little bit too much on it. They certainly know the way they are going to set up in the forward line.
Magpies to bring it back in. Archie, the raking kick. It's trying to find Chalmers. Chalmers just missed the mark, but backed up beautifully is Alfie Steed. Steed down the line with the kick. Out front again. Plenty of pressure out there. Will take the mark out in front. There was Fraser. Oh, tough little customer, that Danny Holm. Throw in again. Again, Vardy in pretty hard. With him was Hopwood.
There's a blood rule. Is there not? So I thought Hopwood had something from just over his eye.
There's a Vardy.
That's Vardy.
Both could
I think
have.
they both do. So I just thought that Heath Hopwood, I picked it up pretty early.
I reckon they hit each other's head when they went for the tackle. They both went for the same tackle. I reckon they've clashed heads. Players are going in hard though, both sides, and just makes you wonder. Somebody's going to get the break in the ascendancy.
Alfie Steve will take it. He's got the support inside by Tregenza. The running Tregenza takes one bounce. Good shepherd by Fraser. Just gave Tregenza time to kick the ball in, just squared himself up. Good work. Coming through hard like Geister. Again, McGuinness is down with it hard early. Brosner in there as well. Good work by Raider. You can hear the support from the Central supporters here. He needs to get a move on here, Hicks. He does. He's tackled as he kicks. Centre half forward. Coming out hard was forward. Couldn't take it. Again, Stacks on the mill. With Clayton, the Magpies will come up with a football.
Well, that was really good footy then. You saw the Central's defence was magnificent, the way they crashed in and smothered Scotty Lee, worked it out through Guerra, and then when Daniel Hicks got hold of it, it was amazing. Down to the boundary with Mike Parsons.
Yes, Peter Vardy just got the smallest scratch on his forehead. They put a little bit of Vaseline on and he'll be back on.
7 is Marco Bello spraying it. It's a point. Port Adelaide by 5 points as Bello, what a good recruit Tim he's been for Central, winning a best and fairest in his first year.
That's a nice way to settle in, isn't it?
I think Danny Holm did the same a couple of years back, didn't he?
97, I think you're right there, David.
So the recruiting people know what they're doing. They've certainly got a bunch of quality recruits. Particularly impressive this year is Archie from fullback for Port Adelaide. It's a high ball. Feagert sits underneath it. Big fly came from forward for the Bulldogs. Clayton, two bites of the cherry. Doesn't take too many of those. Gowans forces it forward, gets the handball forward and picks up. Well, he loses it. The umpire said he dropped it. He didn't handball it. And it's a free kick against him.
Very hot, I thought, on that occasion, but everybody
It wasn't a loose ball, wasn't it? I mean, didn't really have possession of it. Had control maybe, but didn't have possession.
Gee, I like the way Archie drifts down. Sting line to Archie to Feagert. 3 big fellas back there, and they know how to play it pretty tough. Good effort over the top of that ball. Hereda was working pretty hard. Interchange. Vardy comes back on, and Slade goes to the bunker for the Bulldogs for a rest.
Ball's thrown in front of the Central's box. Good work again by Muller. Kick off the ground by Tregenza. Coming out again hard. Defensive Centrals have been under a lot of pressure. It's on behind play. Scotty Lead and Alfie Steed comes in again. Tregenza, another kick forward.
I tell you, chaps, the umpire went down Kevin Chambers.
We might cover that in a moment, Michaels. McGuinness drills his second goal, but there's a little bit of action off the ball between Alfie Steed and Scotty Lee. And the fireworks were blowing. And Scotty will go on with this.
Plenty of experience there. Scotty Lee, the oldest player in the competition at 36, is picking up Alfie Steed out here. Back pocket plays forward pocket. And the umpire just trying to settle things down. Phil McGuinness, that's 2 goals, fellas. She's kicked the total score, 2 goals, 1.
Fellas, I'll come back to umpire Chambers, went down behind the play, and he really isn't very good out there. If you have a look at him, he's holding his head, and I'm not sure he's quite with it just yet.
Tregenza from the middle. A deft little kick just in front of Philip Smith. Now, he got to them last week and the ball was coming in pretty well. Today, he's had 3 leads that have missed him. He's had a few occasions where he could have succeeded. It was Scott Lee from deep in defence, back in the old favourite back pocket position. To Vardy, a long one to Ford at centre forward. So far, Fegan's had the upper hand in that contest, Tim, and this time he goes for the boundary.
Well, he's pretty hard at it, Nigel Fegan. He'll stick to him very close, try and work him underneath the football and get the ball to the boundary as he did on that occasion.
Looks like he's done a couple of rounds there with Mike Tyson. The tape underneath the right eye of Nigel Fegan.
I guess, Mark, there's going to be a burr in his saddle about being dropped from the power squad.
He's got a point to prove. Best way of doing it. He's out there on the football field.
At 24, Tim, is there any chance of him being picked up by another club, do you think?
I don't think it's too old myself, but you've got to play some pretty good, consistent football in the SNFL and really prove yourself when you're around that age, unfortunately.
Again, 15 and a half minutes. The Magpies by 10. Quick hands. Can he work off the football out there? Again, the big ruckman, left leg around his body. Chips it in nicely. The mark will be paid here. It's Hamlin. Gets up quickly. Looks for the lead. It's a high ball. The Maggies are over the back. Have the sit and takes the mark. That's Carter. Stephen Carter. Again, set himself for a big season with the Magpies.
I do like, Tim, the way Archie is prepared to back himself and run from full-back.
He's one of those guys who's got a cool head, hasn't he? And a defender with a cool head is always a good defender.
I'd like Port Adelaide to play wide. Stingline was the target, but over the top of it, Murray Hamblin tackled, ball across the line. We're 16 and a half minutes into the first term. It's Port Adelaide by 10 points.
David, interesting comment you made there about going wide. Just at Elizabeth, it's a ground that you can't come back into the corridor too early because you'll really pay the price for it. So it is so wide, so at times you do got to take it out and then bring it back.
O'Loughlin to Tregenza, but it was Scotty Lee who gathered the ball away. Guerra. Handballs forward. You just look at the width that's given to Vardy. There was no one within perhaps 5 or 6 metres of him when that ball came in, and yet it seems to me that Port Adelaide have got the ability to clog up the back line.
They do at times, you're right, but Vardy's a smart footballer, let's face it, and you know, when a contest is on, he's just got the sense of mind to just drift away, get himself loose and provide a creative option up forward.
Out on the shoulder there by the big ruckman and Chalmers on Ford. So Ford has a chance. He'll kick from just outside of 50. Second game for the Bulldogs. So Ford. The kick's on its way. As it come back, he's pushed it a little bit to the right. I think he's made the distance. The umpire will just wait on. He does. He puts the one finger up. So another point to the Bulldogs. They move on to 4. The Magpies still on 13.
It'll take him a little while, I suppose, to settle in at training and get his kicks right, but the Springvale recruit is a good one so far.
Yes, well, he played in a couple of premierships. Trent Orman-Allen tripped himself up. It could come unstuck. Bello just needs to swing wide. Vardy is good in this position. Just turns it around the corner. Puts it to the point of the square. Could have been a free kick for Port Adelaide. But Fegan didn't wait for it. He played on and headed for the boundary line. On the left boot, that is a marvellous kick.
Well, he does it so well, Nigel Fegan. He's done it a few times in his career, but just hung on a little bit long, I think, Trent Orman-Allen there.
Thought Archie might have picked up a free kick in the square with a big coat hanger.
Again, Chalmers in front, working hard. There was McGowan, the Bello over his right shoulder. The ball's high. Good spoil from behind by Archie once again. Comes out, Fegan and Ford. The bounce favours Ford. Again, at the numbers, Danny Holm, he loves a kick, a goal. Left leg, just too much pressure by Carter. And Carter is rewarded with the free kick.
Good pressure again. Both defences, Centrals and Port Adelaide, have been good so far.
I think you might be right. Port Adelaide playing very wide, Tim, in defence, so that's obviously part of their game plan. First thing Fraser's done wrong today. Hamblin, double take. 8 is Danny Stevens. Guerra, Hamblin, linking up. I think he was looking for Michael Stevens to come down, but he just stopped dead in his tracks, so the ball goes long to the square. Chalmers drops back for Port Adelaide, concedes the point. He did pretty well in the finish because Vardy was there just trying to get a boot to the ball.
Yes, Brett Chalmers does get back into defence so well, and not just to take marks, but to do, I suppose, defensive actions like that, and he did that one particularly well. a little bit worried with the way Centrals are going into their forward line so far. It doesn't seem to be any sort of, I suppose, structure as far as their forwards leading. And they just seem to be bombing it in there at the moment.
Archie again. Comes out wide, looks for the ruckman in Chalmers. Also with him is Feagert. Quick kick. Again will favour the Magpies. Bit of pressure as the ball was released. It's just enough to push the ball out over the boundary line. The man was the Iceman, number 3, in Scotty Hand. So Gawira brings the kick back in. Heads towards forward again. One arm up, 51 was Healy. Good work again by Stevens. Kicks it up, he chased his own football. The Bulldogs favoured by the bounce. Again, great work by Northeast. Enough pressure on the handball, was released to Raider. Can't pick the football up, it's pushed wide. And Maggie's again through Northeast. Just chips the ball forward, finds Alfie Steed. Steed will be supported, doesn't use the player. In Archie running past, or Lachlan it was. The good kick down the line. Picking it up looked like Brosnan. Brosnan comes inside. 22 is Fraser. Fraser needs to pick it up. He does. Good tackle from behind by Hicks. Again the handball. Plenty of pressure out there. Gawira gets the kick wide. Looking for the safety of the boundary line. He finds it. So another throw in. Half forward for the Magpies.
Some very good pressure there from Port Adelaide all the way down the flank. And I do like Gawira in defence for Central Districts. It's very cool for a young man.
21 minutes into the first term. Moller thumps it down. Tregenza, who's been pretty good early. Oh, earned that beautifully, Hahn, didn't he? Just felt the player and took the free kick as easy as you like. Forced it forward. Well, it was a poor kick. Hicks, deep from defence. A high ball. Underneath this one is Chris Gowans, who is the new St Kilda recruit to Central District, along with his twin brother. He squares it up nicely. Danny Holm, the former Tasmanian, now skipper of the club, and former best and fairest winner, drills it forward. And Vardy, I think they'll like having him back here at Elizabeth because he kicks goals.
It's a class act, but geez, he hit that ball hard because that was a kick that was just wobbling everywhere. The kick was under pressure from Holm, and Vardy just attacked it very hard.
And what's your view, Tim? Vardy last week celebrated his sister's 21st birthday, arrived late and allegedly a little under the weather for training, and he's suspended by the Crows.
Just one of those old rules that when you have a loss, mate, you always make sure you're there 10 minutes early.
Win them and wear them. Vardy from 55 metres out, distance won't be a problem. He is a prodigious kick, but in going for distance, he's dragged it to the left. It's a point. So Central are 6 points. They've had inaccurate kicking. Port Adelaide 2-1.
Haven't really had a set shot within sort of 30 metres, have they? I suppose the one from Ford, which he just pushed to the right, but have really been under the pump with most of their shots, and that one probably just a little bit of extra yardage that Vardy needed just made him hook it.
Again, they come grandstand side. Well taken by Archie. Handball over Stengline. The handball goes across to Clayton. Clayton takes 2 bounce. Now looks for Smith coming out like a steam train. It's out in front of him. Just needs to take it. He does this time. Good lead, but just as good kick came out from Clayton.
Well, that was a lot better. You see the way they brought the ball down. They brought it out wide. Got the second kick to the wing. Beautifully worked by Clayton, who is a good footballer when it comes to skill level as well. And he pushed that out in front of Smith, that's the first real opportunity he's had. Geister's worn pretty tight so far.
Well, I reckon he's had 3 leads where if the kick had been good, he could have marked and goaled.
So Smith has gone back about 40 metres off the mark. Will kick from just inside 50. 1, 2, 3 steps, then lets it go. The big booming kick. Has he the accuracy? I think he has. That's his first major for the afternoon. The Magpies now kick clear. They're 19 points compared to Central's. It's on 6 solitary behinds.
Good work by Stengline. He took a great mark. Worked a nice handball towards Clayton. Took a couple of bounces. Lifted his eyes on the 3rd bounce. With a bit of vision, pushed it right out in front of Phil Smith on the lead. Now, Phil Smith, when he does get an opportunity, he kicks goals. I mean, he's very accurate, and that is a real handy asset for a forward.
6-1 last week. Philip Smith on debut. 1 straight today. At the bounce. McGuinness got it from Chalmers. Scotty Lee playing out of a back pocket. They've given him O'Loughlin, Port Adelaide too. That's an interesting matchup. He got a push as he kicked it. Trent Ormanell couldn't complete it. Feagert, who's been wonderful at centre half back, he's had the job on forward. The gun recruit for the Bulldogs, and he's done it pretty well so far. Stenglein, desperate work. 42 was Murray Hamblin for the Bulldogs. But we are 24.5 minutes in, and there's the Port Adelaide bench.
Craig Ebert just taking a message. Been a nice controlled one at that, I'd say.
Ford gets the tap. Orman Allen's quick soccer forward. Again, the Magpies are running out of that back line well. The kick's not that good. It hasn't found the boundary line, but it has found a good mark by Guira.
Liking him.
Fraser goes back. Again, a chance here for Ford.
And that had to be a handball. And look at it, wasteful. He had the handball, Stevens going past him, and ignored it. It was a lay-down goal.
Kicks
Slacking
wide.
into the system.
It's fine. Left leg comes inside. This time he has O'Loughlin. The old-timer in Lee runs him down. Nearly got to him. The kick now will favour. Looks like the Iceman couldn't quite take the grab. Good work from behind by Hicks.
Interesting matchup, that one, Tim.
Yeah, I was just about to say, that's one that's probably, I don't know, whether it's Centrals have to make the move or whether Port do. Just see who gets the better of it, I suppose, at first. But also one down here on the wing. I'm just Hamblin on Stenglein. Stenglein's had a lot of the footy. He's just got that little bit of height over him.
Mola, who's rucking pretty well. 7 possessions for the two wingmen you talked about, Tim. So line ball at this stage. Binky, claimed by Joey Hicks, gets the handball away. Wasn't a throw. The crowd called for it, but play on, said the umpire. Off the ground goes Gowans. A little kick into space. Now it's Clayton who's dispossessed. Cleverly done. Tregenza. The tackling has been ferocious. Hulme got him. And now Healy. Forward. Ford, the target missed. Trent Orman-Allen lost his footing. It was dangerous. 13 is McArdle. Well, he had plenty of time and space, but he rushed the kick, and that one is out of bounds on the full.
Fellas, just while the players break, Heath Hopwood's back on the bench. He's got about 4 or 5 stitches in that gash across his right eye where they clashed heads with Peter Vardy, and he'll be playing in number 62 when he comes back on the ground. Blood on the old Guernsey.
Pull northeast. The unforgettable action. Chalmers just couldn't quite take it. Had the height out there. Couldn't take it. He's giving his opposition ruckman today about 7 centimetres. So that's a fair bit. You just notice that Muller is on top. Is on top with the hit outs at this stage. Actually with a 6 apiece. So he has done well, Brett Chalmers.
Nothing worse than giving somebody 7 centimetres, Mark. As Stevens, as Fraser streaks away, wastes the kick. Hahn did pretty well. I thought he held it in, but the boundary umpire said it was out. You've got to be a little bit careful there. If you don't give it back to the boundary umpire, it's a free kick. Scotty Hahn.
It was an unorthodox method, wasn't it?
Unorthodox.
It's Hopwood just coming back off.
Mola front position, Brosnan from behind. There's a push at the umpire, and Mola will take the free. He'll look to handball it away quickly. Now, there was plenty of them running back there, weren't there? Guira forced onto the right boot. We're used to seeing him kick with the left. Carter was well 2-on-1 in the contest. Healy just seems to have enough time to get himself clear and did that so very well. Now it's Scotty Lee. Run down. Alfie Steed got him holding the ball. What a battle that is, Tim.
Oh, that was tremendous by Alfie Steed. That was 2 and 3 efforts of chasing, and he eventually got to the third one, which was Scotty Lee. And you're right, he would have put a little bit more into that one.
The Iceman's he's got about 15-20 metres if he wishes to go down the field. He does, and he comes back. And this time bombs the ball. It's high. Plenty of work from the backwards. Brosnan couldn't bring it down. The Magpies have the number again. That was Binky. Kicks up towards Smith. Great use of the body by the big fella. Has he brought up his second? I don't think he has. Behind again to the Magpies. Move on to 3 goals, 2-20. An 18-point lead over the Bulldogs.
That left eye, just with a couple of butterfly clips on it, Tim. You've had a few of those.
What, butterflies?
Butterfly clips. I reckon you got one in the grand final, as I recollect, on the chin.
That was an accident.
And enjoyed it. Guira, the designated kicker from full-back for the Bulldogs. Well, he's just picked out Stenglein, hit him right on the nose. And Stenglein just lifts the eyes, wastes the kick. Underneath that one, McGowan's was paid the mark.
Should be 25.
Should be. The whistle was blown.
He's got away with it.
So Tregenza and Binky drop back into the middle. They chop off that option. McGowan will need to go wide. There goes Hicks, a handball, Mike. No, but instead he elects to go out to the far side. Bradley Moller. Now, where's the link-up man? There's nobody forward. Joe Hicks was there, but he's covered by Binky. So he comes back into Gowans in the middle. It's not a bad ploy. I think their game, Central District, though, is playing on quickly, Tim, and using the emotion and pace to explode. Well, he's gone, isn't he? No doubt about that. The advantage allowed to flow. That was actually a free kick, but the umpires allowed the advantage, and Vines goes over the top to O'Loughlin, who was running into the open goal when the siren sounded. So, Tim, an entertaining first quarter.
Well, Centrals did everything. They were in and at it. They tackled hard. They committed their bodies. They just didn't have the forward set up quite right. Probably wasted a few opportunities. Could have been closer to Port. Port, on the other hand, used every opportunity and kicked goals when it was needed. So a lead of 3-2-20 to Central's 6 straight points, 14-point margin.
We're watching the SANFL footy exclusively to ABC Sport.
Start the second quarter here at Elizabeth Oval. The Magpies up against the Bulldogs. Great quarter by the Magpies. They lead 3-2-20. Central Districts just on the 6 solitary behind. Good take again by McGuinness. He's taken a few out of the centre so far in this game. Hands over the top. The Bulldogs will clear the back line once again. Comes out wide. Moller takes it. Looking for support downfield. He's got the running good and dives. Fingertip it, just couldn't quite take it. Clayton comes out, takes on Stevens and gets away with it. Then releases his kick. Heads up, forward. The Iceman from behind couldn't take it. Oh, Danny Holmes!
He got Hahn.
Oh. Well, we'll leave that one alone, I think, David. We see the big fella full forward and Smith. He comes out again. Couldn't take the mark. Good work by Geister.
Well, I think there's got to be a little bit of honesty in commentary. Mark, what did you see?
Well, I'm stuck behind one of these pillars here up in the back of the grandstand. Just couldn't quite pick that up. But somehow the Iceman has gone down.
I think he fainted.
And he's coming across there. He just gives Holm a bit of a push from behind.
Moller from behind, thumps it down. Notice Tim Ginniver goes missing in those incidents.
Yeah.
With Port Adelaide players, Tim.
Yeah, didn't like it.
What's your view as the most recently retired player when you see an incident well off the ball like that?
Oh, well, if it was me personally, I'd be looking to even up.
Fair enough. Stevens shows a good deal of pace and skills. Hicks back to Stevens in the double play. Short kick over the top was wasteful because Chalmers dropped into the hole and took an easy chest mark. And you're right about Port Adelaide just taking it wide. Stenglein, who's been playing well. It's been a good battle between him and Hamblin.
Just on that occasion, he probably didn't have to go wide. I think Chalmers, with the leg he's got, could have got it inside 50. So probably a wrong option on that occasion.
Tregenza has Brosnan leading. That's ignored. Now there's very little movement in the Port Adelaide forward line. They're virtually standing still.
It's blocked across the half forward.
And let's see what Chalmers does with this. He could go for a big torp and lob it right in the square with his leg.
You got Moller back there though.
So he drills it in short and Moller drops into the hole. Could have played on. Wisely went back because Philip Smith was closing.
Moller, support from Bello. The little rover gives the handball back to his ruckman. You never do that. He chips over the top. Well done. I take my words back. Bello again. It's up high. Oh, forward just at the last moment. Put the head down. Put the one arm up. Again, working hard was Bello. Ball comes out to McGuinness. McGuinness down the line. He's got a loose player. They've created that loose man once again. Comes inside. Who's back there? Brosnan takes it. Check sides from 15 metres out. He claps himself. Gets the high five. The big majors are the Maggies. They pull away. They're on 4-2-26. The Bulldogs still on those 6 solitary behind.
It was a pretty intense sort of first quarter. And both sides were going in particularly hard, but you know something has to give eventually. And Porter just got the break at the moment, and there was some really good work done on the wing position there. It was 2-1. It was Chalmers and Feagit. They worked it out, got it down, that the loose man was created. So you're right, it was blocked there for a moment, but then they all pushed forward and then pushed back again, and they created an option.
4-2 to 6 points, 20 points the margin. The Bulldogs need the next goal to get back into this contest. They just face the prospect of drifting unless they do. McGowan tries to flick it out. Play on, said the umpire. Tregenza. Aerial ping pong as McGuinness flicks it forward. Trent Orman-Allen. Tregenza streaks away with a little bit of pace and squares it up towards centre forward. 2-on-1. No mark taken. The Bulldogs are fumbling. Geister missed it. Smith off the ground, forced it back into the forward pocket, and dropping back on top of that one, Brian Herrera, well, he switches it. Well, look, you just worry when Port Adelaide come at you, there's very few options.
Oh, look, I think any side that plays well has forward line pressure, and the forward line pressure at the moment's been excellent. Alfie Steve's running around like a mad dog trying to put pressure on people, and it really does make a difference.
And Chalmers, I think, drifting across half forward. Every time the ball comes out, is forcing it back in. Well, what's that? That's holding the ball, no question. O'Loughlin couldn't get it out. It was a good tackle by Hicks. He plays on quickly. Bello to Healy. Well, he missed it. Clayton. Gee, that's a good battle too, that one, Tim. Keep your eye on that. Healy and Clayton, two great players. From behind, Stengline couldn't take it. Hamblin comes again. Second effort was very, very good. Fraser threw it away. Play on, said the umpire. Slick work deep in defence. As Hopwood puts it into space. Forward, the centre-half forward for the Bulldogs, running wide for his kicks. Fegut's rounded him up pretty well today, but he gets that one away. A good kick into the good area. Right on the spot, but look at Archie. Did it so strongly. Looks like a young Greg Phillips, the way he plays the game. And Chalmers, a high bomb towards centre-half forward. Who wants this one? Gira. Well, he got one high. Brosnan got him. It was Tregenza off the ground. Herrera crashes through. Now McGowan. This game has lifted a notch or two in intensity. Bello flicks it out. Off streaks Healy on the left boot. Drills it long and low. Where's the target? 2 on 1. Archie misses it. But at the back door, it's Vardy. Crashes over the top of it. Taken high. No, says the umpire. Archie got it away from Danny Stevens and forced it wide. Well, it was good defensive work by Port Adelaide as Fegut goes to the boundary.
So Daniel Wakelin and Radley Modler on the bench, but some good work in defence there. Archie, he just has that sense of mind around players around him. He knows what's going on.
Well, they're not going to kick goals the way they're just taking that ball. And we saw in the first quarter, we heard Tim Ginniver pass the remark, but they're just not bringing the ball in properly. Really is to 50-50 contest every time. Again, the chance here for Danny Holm to set it up. He gets the free kick, kicking in danger. Again, we've just got a stationary forward line. Chalmers has dropped back in to fill the hole. And should take the grab. He's in the front position, nearly taken from behind. Good work at ground level. Chance here for the Bulldogs. Good work there by Orman Allen. In there also is Clayton. They throw the ball over the top. Again, the Magpies had the number. Orman Allen chips the ball up. They can take this and settle down. It's Fraser. So Fraser, half back. Will come out wide, looking for Stengline. In front again, the Magpies. Good spoil from behind. Just push the ball out over the line.
When you set things up on Elizabeth Oval, there's so much space, but you've got to work into it. And at the moment, there's a lot of players just standing still. And Danny Holm had a kick there, and there was nobody moving.
Let's put some perspective on it, Tim. Though the heat out here is debilitating. It's very hot today, and not a breath of wind. Hard conditions for the players as Steed goes into the half-forward slot. The backdoor Herrera, who's played well so far in defence for the Bulldogs, accelerates, clears, and picks out the target. And he's got one. Hamblin it is. Oh, dear me. Well, that's just come unstuck. They get us over the top. Brosnan, second goal, lines them up, chips it in. It's a training drill. Port Adelaide 5-2, Central District 6 points on the ABC scoreboard.
Well, it's just a critical sin in football, isn't it? Kicking into the man on the mark, and that's really poor old Hamblin's paid real bad dividends there. He's had a good game so far. Keep your head up, son. Keep going. He's having a good battle with Stengline. Stengline's a beautiful smother. The give by Phil McGuinness to Brosnan was perfect, and Brosnan just had to finish off, and he did.
Is that the second time, Tim, that Hamblin has kicked into the man on the mark?
You must get it over the top. No doubt about that, David. But he has had a reasonable game so far, so he's just got to keep his head up, keep going.
32 plays 6.
Just while we're waiting for play to restart, young Didak just about to get his first taste of league footy.
Tim, tell us about Didak.
Yeah, young lad from Paraki. He's come right through the grades. This week, Phil McGuinness tries to take a screamer, but he's a left footer and a real talent. Keep an eye out for him.
The Bulldogs go forward again. Bello will be first there. Just needs to pick the footy up. He's got support out wide by McGowan. McGowan left ball. Just chips it up towards Vardy. Vardy has the player running past, and Hicks couldn't give it. Orman Allen does.
Yeah,
the Magpies will clear again.
McArdle just had to sit back and take the handball. It's all he needed to do. As Clayton to Hahn. Well, there's some feeling out here between Hahn and Holm, I can tell you. Vines.
Tackle.
Play on, said the umpire. It was a ferocious tackle. Vinky crashes through, went through his own man. One step, lobs it deep. Fraser will need to back onto this, but doing it very well.
Hopwood, good courage.
His head strapped. Looks like the Sultan of defence. To Holm. Was almost run down by Steed. Hamblin over the top, cleverly done to Hicks. This is Joe Hicks. To half forward the kick. Good work underneath the contest. It was McArdle, just couldn't quite get there, and now it's Chalmers marking just to relieve a little bit of pressure for Port Adelaide.
Got Vines out wide if he uses him quickly.
He goes in that direction. Vine takes and takes off. Nearly tackled by Stevens as he kicked it. The high ball. Good work by the big fella in Geister. Just got in front of Smith on that occasion. He took a good mark. He comes out wide. 44 for the Bulldogs is Guerrera. He goes down the line to McGowan. McGowan will push wide. He's looking for runners. He has one there. 51 is Healy. The kick wasn't good. Again, the boundary umpire will play a part in this game.
And young Alan Didak coming on for his first game, and he's just sprinted to his position. And I know when your first game, you really have lactic in the legs, don't you, Michael Parsons?
You certainly do. He's looking very keen to get on there, but I think the Central District's looking at the heat. They're resting their on-ballers off the bench. Both Bello and Moller are now sitting down, and Wakeland will take the rucking duties.
David Brown, the injured Magpie skipper, right of screen, deep in the bunker. Curly hair in the blacktop. Now reported as a calf injury, Tim, but it's a driver.
Just a slight one, and he thought he might have been right today, but it's always good to just make sure they're 100%.
Look, he's a pretty honest lad, and I guess he's, if you don't mind me saying, continued the tradition of great, honest, courageous Port Adelaide skippers. I know you'll take that as a compliment, but they really do have a mould for their skippers at Port Adelaide.
Well, I suppose you've got to be, a skipper of any club's very proud to be skipper of his club, and I suppose you've got to fit certain bills, and Brownie certainly does that.
Oh yeah, one of my favourite players. That you see him running, and he's never questioned, is he? Vardy, clever, slick, gets it away. Hicks, in turn, Gowans running through the midfield, lifts the eyes and looks for a slot, but there was just no one coming. He put it into a hole, hoping that somebody could run onto it. Northeast was up to it. Well done, Chalmers. He's playing a game and a half. Stevens wide to the flank. McArdle sits underneath this one, but Trent Ormonell got there late, and McArdle completed the mark. Well, the big fellow, well, I was going to say, he had some options. Gowans thumps it out. McGuinness just sat there nicely. That's where he's improved his game, Phil McGuinness. He sits back in defence nicely. O'Loughlin over the top. Fraser with pace, skirts around, squares it up, and Scotty, in fact, it's not Scotty, it's Hicks. This is Joe Hicks, 5th in the best and fairest last year. Had a great season. I think when a few of his mates really struggled.
Hicks comes out wide. O'Loughlin. The jump in front was Hopwood, couldn't take it again. O'Loughlin over the top of the handball, gives Vines a bit of time to run onto it. Left leg, it's high. Who's back there? No one for the Magpies. And again, this time, we'll have Jamie and Hicks. Takes it, gets the ball moving quickly. He goes out wide to Geister. Geister runs with it. Left leg again comes in board. The kicking by the Bulldogs hasn't been good this afternoon.
And free kick.
And a free kick will come back here to a Raider.
Yeah, that was a bit silly. It was definitely there, and poured out the run of the ball, so Stevie Brosnan wouldn't be happy with that.
The Raider releases Gowans. Gowans goes high. At the back, sitting well as McArdle. He should take this, just couldn't quite pick it up. You can't afford to make a mistake against the Magpies. Oh, come on, the kick comes on board out front. Good mark taken by Danny Stevens. So a chance here for the Bulldogs to bring up their first major. Will kick outside of 50. Maybe just a little bit too far for him. In he comes. Will drop the football right on the 50. It's a high ball. Has it the distance? I don't think it had. Jumping early again was Chalmers. The Bulldogs had the players at the bottom of the pack. In there working hard. Looks like Danny Holm coming through hard. Archie's played a superb game this afternoon.
Brilliant.
And Orban Allen kicks out wide.
Tim Ginnivan likes it. Didak, the left-footed wingman, and only a 16-year-old, not yet turned 17. McGuinness explodes.
Playing well.
Well, he did finish, second in the best and fairest last year, and you can see why. He's really matured as a player. Steed to Fraser to McGuinness. McGuinness has run 100 metres to kick that goal. That is a great individual effort, Phil McGuinness. Well done, young son. And he likes it. That's his third.
Well, I said, David, earlier about Elizabeth Oval, the gaps that are there, and if you're prepared to run into the space, then you'll get your possessions and you'll get your work rate up. And look what Phil McGuinness has done there. That was magnificent. He was in defence 1 minute, he's worked it up into the midfield, and then he's got his third touchdown here, inside 50, goal. But some great pieces of play back here by Archie. That's where it all started.
He deserves a drink. He worked hard there from a half-back line. See him coughing and spluttering there on screen. He deserves a pat on the back. That was a great effort, Phil McGuinness. But also Archie started back there in the back pocket, 10 metres out from the goal face. Steve just cool and collected, just released the football, got the Magpies up forwards. Another goal to them. They're 6-2, 38. Again, the Bulldogs yet to bring up their first major for the afternoon, still on 6 behind. Sregenza paddles it, now sockets it, goes in for the third effort. McGowan, good slick hands in close. They really are just trying to create something, but it's just not coming off. It's up high, the mark has to be paid here. Looks like it is, maybe 25 to boot. McArdle, handball's off, 51, it's Healy. Healy, high ball up forward. No direction at all, out of bounds on the full. They're quick, the Maggies. Archie just gets the ball moving up towards Feagit. Feagit out front again, they've got support. Orman Allen over the top. They're going in slow motion here, the Maggies. This is Alfie Steed. Lovely kick up forward, at the back. Oh, they're just doing it too easy.
Didak.
Well, we saw a player last year, the name of Fiora, come out, left leg. Really, in a couple of sensational games. We've seen another young Magpie coming out, debuting in Didak. They go forward again, the chip up. Who's going back with the football? Vines, one take, one kick. Very quick thinking by Vines. Brings up his first major for the afternoon. That's the Maggie 7th.
Well, we spoke about Central's forward line, and you saw the long bomb by Healy. Look at the way they ran the ball up here. On this occasion, Vines beautiful, quick to boot with the ball, but they're just cleaner with their possessions. There's just a few mistakes being made by the Central's players. That's just given the second option to Port Adelaide.
Well, we had a great shot of Carter and Holm. Holm is a marked man against Port Adelaide. I think there's a few Team Port Adelaide stick together, Tim, don't they?
It's very important that you do show some unity.
16.5 minutes into the second quarter. The Bulldogs haven't scored a goal. They have 6 points. Port Adelaide have 7-2. As Chalmers thumps it down. O'Loughlin tried to be a little slick. Alfie Steed was good enough, but Chris Gowan's cut it off in the middle. On the left boot, he goes out to McArdle. It made a change there. Forward's been shifted, and McArdle's come out to try and nullify Feagit, who's been playing a blinder. Didak, cleverly done. Steed, back it goes. Stengline just cut through traffic, recovers the ball, goes over the top, handballs away. Healy releases McGowan and looks for the long ball. Over the top it goes. Now this is where Centrals need to just find their forwards as it comes in. There's just too much congestion and they're running across each other. And yet again, Ford backed up to McArdle, and it all comes unstuck as the Port Adelaide defence clogs it up and heads for the boundary.
Look, I've got a lot of time for McArdle, the way he presents himself and his efforts at the ball are excellent. He hasn't quite played 20 games yet, and he's just sort of, sometimes when he gets a footy, you know he's just going to make a mistake because he hasn't just lifted his eyes, but he's got a future. I think he's a real competitor.
Well, he was 4th on their goal-kicking list last year, Tim. 17 goals for him from 15 games. So he knows how to kick them. Vines. Well, Stevens and Vines, a couple of speeches. They're going hard at it in the heat. McGuinness sits it down, just pops it up. Who's going to run onto it? There's no one back there for Port Adelaide. O'Loughlin gets there late. Moller, defensively, the big fella did it pretty well for the Bulldogs. Forces it out wide and he finds Hereda.
Hereda, again, you can see him looking for an option. And we see Mollers run down to provide that. So 44 plays 6. We're nearly 18 minutes into the second quarter. The Magpies have controlled this first half. And a mistake then gained by the big fella. Vardy just not too pleased with that kick from Moller.
Now, Tim, you're an internet fan. Have you put in your internet footing tips? Because there is the internet directory. That's where you go. And there's some good prizes.
But Stevens goes back to Hereda. He's off and running again. There's no option out wide. Puts pressure on Stevens. Back to Hereda. The handball comes out this time. Moller again. Left leg comes in board. Player loose. 21 in the middle is Gowans. Now Gowans was a late inclusion, fellas, but really he's been, I reckon, the best player out there this afternoon. He's presenting himself and getting hold of the football. Over the top was Danny Holm. Couldn't take it. McArdle again. Gives it back to Gowans. Gowans gives it back to McArdle, back again to Gowans. The kick can't quite find Ford. It's been the story of the first half. Has been their skill level. To Port's credit, they really have applied the pressure and have forced the errors. Really have them thinking twice. So the Maggies just settle it down. They've got one or two players here. He wants to go across, does Fraser. Danny Holm starting to run out a bit of puff as Danny over the top as McArdle thumps the ball back. It favours McGowan. He this time lifts the eyes. Sees Scotty lead down from a back pocket. He presents himself and takes a good grab.
"17 goals, and I tell you what, they'll be.
17 games for 35 goals last year, Tim.
That's not a bad effort, is it?
Number one in the club.
I was going to say he's probably not a bad option to throw it forward now because he's got the smarts about him. He knows where to run.
He goes forward, just a little quick chip kick.
And this is the fellow, Mark, I reckon will make a difference to their forward structure. Healy, we saw him kick 5 in the last trial against the Eagles, but he just looked dynamite. If there's a guy who can come off a wing or half forward and kick you 5 goals in a match, he could really be potent for the Bulldogs this year.
So Healy, 51 out.
Not a good kick.
It's a saucer. Over the top, northeast, good hands. Fraser again. They really have cleaned up nicely back there this afternoon. Goes out wide. That's the difference. The kicks are hitting their target. Again, they're running down with good support.
I think that's a good comment. I think you're 100% right in that assessment, Mark.
They've given their, see, they're just one up and players hitting the front. They're just presenting themselves beautifully.
It's Didak again.
It's Didak again, that long left leg. Oh, I think he's made the distance, just touched on the last line there by Geister. So Didak gets his first score in league football. And that being a behind.
Jeez, I've seen him for 5 minutes. And I tell you what, I don't think we're going to see too much of him here.
We are just on 21 minutes into the second term. Port Adelaide leads 7-3 to Central, 6 points. It's a big margin, and the Bulldogs really have thrown everything at Port Adelaide, and the Magpies have responded.
David, if this was a game of tennis, the unforced errors that would be on Central's stat sheet would be phenomenal.
Good
They
point.
just really have made some unforced errors today.
Danny Stevens claimed by McGuinness. It was left to Hicks to concede the point. They've been under pressure, the Central District defenders.
Well, they're in panic mode at the moment. They are just under so much pressure from the forward line.
And you can't use, I know it's warm up here in the commentary box, but out in the field, there's a bit of cloud cover out there, but the Magpies are out there and they really are working hard to get the football, and they're just using it just so well. They come back in again. He might be claimed here, Raider. He just gets the kick before he's tackled. Now that's not a good kick. Again, no real pressure from behind. Kick didn't hit his target. Again, it's just a little forced kick forward. Not good. Results in the ball going out over the boundary line.
David Brown just out with a slight driver injury today, and I think will be fit for next week's game.
West Adelaide at Alberton for Port Adelaide next week. And join us, our game of the day is going to be Sturton North Adelaide at Unley Oval, 3 o'clock next Saturday. We had a chance to have a look at the Double Blues. We've seen Port Adelaide a couple of times. See how the Double Blues are cooking. Moller to the back door. Stengline forward, cleverly done. Benke, best first-year player in O'Loughlin, forces it wide. It was beautifully done to Brosman, who's 40 out on a slight angle, and the breeze will favour him.
They'll make the distance, David. There'll be no question of that. Just the accuracy.
Drafted this year to the AFL.
Yes, Paul Powers list, and they're looking at him to be a ready-made player.
Did pretty well in the trials, and off 2 or 3 steps only. He's just kicked that beautifully. I think Tony Lockett was the last player I saw kick the ball like that off 3 steps, and he did it superbly, and he's got his third.
Well, that's an excellent leg. He had to really aim for that left post, and he just about did it textbook style. So Ricky O'Loughlin there just turned his man inside out. He's so clever, and his skill level, well, that's why he's now been drafted by the Crows.
This is going to be scary. The Bulldogs should go in half-time down by 10 goals.
You know, they've got
A
7.
big margin to get back.
They've got 7 players in this team with AFL experience. And they've only had 5 fewer possessions at Port Adelaide, so their use of the ball has been appalling.
Back to the unforced errors.
So true. It's up again. Moller is rucked all day up against Chalmers. Quick kick out there by McGowan, goes forward. Again, they're playing in front, and it is paying dividends. Clayton, good game. Very hard to pick their best player this afternoon.
That would be a
And
case
also,
of...
Steve, he got a whack in the head, and that's really fired him up. No, that was Hahn that got the whack in the head. But Steve also started half-back flank, played on the wing a bit, and always also moved forward.
I reckon you're right. I reckon the Hahn whack on the head fired up Steed.
Yep,
No.
did.
The white line fires up Steve.
So it's end up now. This will put them 9 goals in a half.
Fraser's first quarter mark was just terrific.
Yes, it was. Well, this shouldn't be missed. He's only around about 40 metres out. Kicks it. I think he may have dragged it just. He has. There's another behind to the Magpies. They move on to 8 goals, 5-53. Central District on those 6 behinds.
Well, I made the comment in the first quarter that when you play at Elizabeth, you really do want to be up at half-time because it's very hard to chase Guernseys here. And they're certainly going to have themselves the lead, but then it'll be their third quarter that determines the game still, because Elizabeth's one of those ovals where you can get back into it.
Marco Bello got the kick from Stevens from fullback. Oh, good mark. McGowan, dual best and fairest winner to the far side. This is where Healy needs to explode. He can bounce down. He's got plenty of space, but he backs himself in on the kick, and he, I was going to say he wasted it almost. Archie took it away. Figa was there in support. Long handball comes forward. McArdle turns around, bends around the corner.
Yes!
They've got their first, and the fans go up. McArdle gets their first goal 25 and a half minutes into the second term. I thought they were going to go a half without a score. They're 1-6. Port Adelaide are 8-5 on the ABC scoreboard.
Earlier I was saying about McArdle, how competitive he is. This time he sort of got on the end of one and snapped it beautifully, but a lot more poise shown by the young fella then. And he really is a goer. He's made a contest of everything. He's tried to be competitive. And he's a good one in the box for Centrals, I think, for the future.
Eleven times inside 50 this quarter for Central District for their first score, for their first goal.
Not good. 41-point margin. As we play 26 minutes into the second quarter. It's a high ball. Again, Moller just thumps in his direction. Again, McGuinness, just a quick kick, allows his players to play in front to run onto it.
Didak.
Again, Didak, left leg as he brought up his first major league football. He's happy with the result, the young fella. The young teenager brings up another major. A good reply by the Magpies. They're 9-5-59. The Bulldogs 1-6-12.
Well, he's been on the ground for about 10 or 12 minutes, and I tell you what, I've been this impressed since I saw Adam Fiora last year. I mean, he is a very, very special player. He's poised, he's got balance, he does everything, he tackles. He's showed a bit of courage already, so I tell you what, 16 years of age, incredible advancement for a young man.
So you know how to find them, don't you, Port Adelaide, Tim? You look at Fiora, you look at O'Loughlin last year, and I think there was a kid called Shane Holmes who really impressed us last year when he debuted as well. So I don't know where you get them and what you're feeding, but I want some.
Bit late for you, David.
Very much so. McGuinness forward. Marco Bello, well, 2 bites at that and missed it. O'Loughlin, an important possession, just gets it forward of centre. Didak. Well, what a good change of pace and direction. Over the top to Vines, very quick hands. He set this up. Steed thumps through and drills it. Well, O'Loughlin and Didak were terrific. And in the finish, well, the finish was just terrific.
That was a very good finish in the end, but that, we're just talking about how good he is and how poised he is. What about the give? But Alfie Steedy deserves to be on the end of a couple because he normally starts them. And he's on the end of that one and punched it beautifully through on his left foot, but there was some good work done in the middle, and Didak's hands. I mean, that's a guy that's been playing for 2 or 3, 4 years, does that sort of thing.
Well, fellas, we're just sitting here with the Magpies coaching staff, only 15 metres away from us, and they're just laid back. In the afternoon, the tea and scones is out. I've never seen them coaching through looking so relaxed at this stage of the game.
I'll get the cocktails out shortly.
Well, another goal to the Magpies. That puts them now out to 10 goals for a half. And the siren was just about to go shortly. A good half of football by the Magpies. Danny Holmes sets it up again, coming out hard again was McArdle, gives it across to Lee, needs support inside, he gets it back, there's McArdle, this should be down another goal, the young fella got his second for the quarter, and that's the Bulldogs' second.
Well, I made the comment earlier that Scott Lee, they'd be doing things worse than to throw him up forward, and you can just see there, just smart, got the smarts, little nice give back to McArdle. And this time again, showing some more poise, knowing that he had time, and kicked the goal. And that could have been Scotty Lee's voice just reassuring him that he's got time, and you just need that old head around the place now and again.
You're 100% right. 2-6 to 10-5. I think it's a very good point you've made. I think if they just leave Scotty Lee in the forward pocket next to McArdle, he'll just work him out. And I think that'll be a potent combination. An old head and young shoulders. Moller.
Young legs are important.
Yes. Moller and Chalmers. That's been a good rucking contest today, Tim. Who do you give the points to so far?
Oh, probably the taps have gone to Moller, but Brett Chalmers has done everything around the ground.
Fair enough. Slade couldn't get through. O'Loughlin handballs it forward. Marco Bello tried to steal it. It was McGowan who finally got the handball away. Stingline had the ball held to him by Healy. Dead heat. That will be a bounce. We are 29.5 minutes into the second term. 65 plays 18, but the Bulldogs are starting to give a yelp.
David, if I just drag you back to the rucking competition, Moller is getting his hand to the ball a lot, but I think it's Port Adelaide that's taking it away from the Packs consistently.
Comment former Sydney Swans and North Adelaide ruckman Michael Parsons on the boundary line. Guess he knows the caper, Mark.
Yes, he does. Very good footballer with a big pass, though. We see Stevens. His colours lowered a bit by Vines this afternoon. I just also think at centre-half forward, we see McArdle being involved in again. Maybe a yard quicker than what Fegan. Fegan has got a drawback. He's tougher than footy, but just lacks a yard of pace. Well, Tim, it was a good half of football by the Magpies.
Was brilliant. They put pressure on in the forward line and defence, and they worked the ball up particularly well. But just towards the last 5 minutes then, I thought Central's just settled down, got a couple of goals, which will then just balance them up after half-time. Look, they're not out of it. I know it's a big margin, but it's a big ground, and in a half of football, you can get that back here. Well, half-time scores here at Elizabeth Oval. The Magpies are in charge. They're 10 goals, 5-65. Central District are 2 goals, 6-18. And you're watching all the action of the SANFL football on ABC Sport. We'll start the second half here. The score 65 plays 18. The first bounce. Again, Chalmers will contest it with Moller. The bounce favours Chalmers. He just dumps it back. Coming across, 51 is Healy. Healy now coming off a wing. Handballs the ball across. 62 for those people at home. Was Hopwood that came off with a few stitches and a bit of blood, now is wearing that jumper. Comes back inside. McGowan takes it. He's got the running player again. Oh, the handball wasn't good. He tried to find Healy. Vines in there again. Now look at that. Going to ground, handballed across, found Clayton. Clayton fights McGuinness. He's just about to be tackled, gets his kick away. The space is here, a chance for a Raider. Oh, good hip off the ball there on Steed. Again, a Raider's in there on the ground. He gets up, handballs across. Again, we see Hopwood. He comes in board to Moller, and Moller just lays it out the left leg. A good lead up forward and a good mark taken.
Matty Slade from the midfield. Delivers it to McGowan on 51 step and drives towards goal. Under pressure, he was tackled just as he disposed of the kick. There's a free right on the line, and it's going to Danny Stevens. What do you reckon, Tim?
In the end, you'll probably see it's a little bit technical, but he's definitely copped him high. Just watch this.
Yeah, around the face.
I guess there is a thing called unintentional contact.
Yeah, but it is technically correct.
All right, and Danny Stevens pops it through. He's been an important recruit. And he's done enough to suggest he's going to be all right.
You'd say North East has had a better of the battle so far, though.
No question.
And this one, a big high bomb. Just, like you said, unintentional by North East. He tried to get the ball through the goals.
The thing that worries me here, just a little bit of contact like that, and he's just dropped to the ground like a bomb. And that's got to be a concern.
Could have been a clever player.
You don't get them all the time, though, do you?
What concerns me also is that McGowan really just took off. I mean, there can't be any voice up there. I mean, there's no way that McGowan should have gone back and kicked it from 45 metres. He turned, just no voice there. He was under pressure when he kicked it. Well, again, Mullen Chalmers, well taken by Bello. Bello torpedoes ones up forward. Good mark. Awkward kick to take by Figa, but he takes it. Comes out wide. Good run by Stingline. Takes the mark above his head in front of Healy.
Stingline and Healy now, Mark. A pretty good matchup.
Yeah, so Healy just moved. He played most of his footy there up forward in that first half. He's been moved out to the wing just to create something, but I think Peter Jonas had to do something. Ball's high, Brosnan came out, Bello comes it down, again he gets another possession, he just has to use this ball going forward, he doesn't, again he picks out Figert, nearly takes it, but cleans up beautifully, he's got Orman Allen out wide, decides to use Carter, Carter comes across to the loose Tregenza, Tregenza's got Clayton, they're running in numbers the Maggies, one bounce by Clayton, needs to get around the big ruckman, he does that at ease, looks up towards for Smith, Smith's got the jump in the set, and takes the mark. Now that's the difference. The kick out in front of Smith gave him a chance.
Port Adelaide running through lines, mate.
Oh, it was good.
It was
good
corridor football as well. That was probably the real key, is it's straight up the middle through Carter into Tregenza, the run of Clayton off the half-back flank. Good disposal all around as well. You've got to be clean with your possessions.
Pinpoint.
They certainly were there. But look, Central's got the start they needed. They got a goal within 2 minutes, but they can't go goal for goal with Port Adelaide. They must get a string of them together.
Well, the big fella, he's got one on the board in the first quarter. I mentioned this week he'd love to kick a goal a quarter this season. His target is 80. He reckons he'll be happy with that. It was a beautiful kick. Kicker of the football, and he hasn't let me down there again. That's his second for the afternoon, the big fella. And the Magpies, will they get one back? They're 11-5-71. The Bulldogs 3-6-24.
You can see the possession there. Clayton nearly lost the football there, got around Bradley Moller relatively easily. Put the pass out in front of Smith, who had to sit on Lee. A bit unfair for Scotty Lee there.
It was the first time, frankly, that Geister had been more than 5 metres away, and I think Scotty Lee and Philip Smith, unfair contest. 3-6 to 11-5, just on 4.5 minutes into the third term. At Elizabeth Oval, it's the Bulldogs against Port Adelaide. Moller thumps it down, Bello misses it. Loose ball falls, Stingline came in off the wing, gathers it in, got away a handball of sorts. There's 3 or 4 players going after it, and the umpires are letting them have a dip. At the bounce. Chalmers, who's rucked all day for Port Adelaide, thumps it down the throat of McGuinness, who couldn't get away a kick. McGowan, a hurried one on the left boot forward. Carter and Vardy, it's been a good battle, those two. Carter's had the upper hand. Michael Stevens turns one high towards the forward line. Hicks was underneath it, so too Danny Stevens. Neither player could take control, and that one is across the line for a throw-in.
And you can see the Central's bench there. Kieran Ford sitting down. I thought he gave them a target early, moved to full forward from his starting place at centre half forward, and he's sitting next to Daniel Wakeland, and young McGowan's waiting for another turn.
Ball's thrown in again, McGowan's in there, just taps it back into Stevens. Stevens checks side, tight on the boundary, kicks it high. The umpire has ran a fair way to put up the one finger. So another behind to the Bulldogs, 3-7-25. Magpies 11-5-71.
Interesting, Damien Hicks has moved up forward. Sometimes he's played centre half forward for Centrals and done particularly well, so that's not a bad move by Peter Jonas.
Well, I think they had to do something because if they had continued the way they were in real trouble. Archie is playing fullback like he's been there his whole life. Gee, they've had some good fullbacks, including Delaney. McGuinness, slick work to Stingline. A measured kick to Alan Didak on debut. 5 possessions in 10 minutes of football. Not a bad effort in the second quarter to Brosnan, who used his body strength beautifully. Moving it deep into the forward line, but dropping back and doing it pretty well was Hopwood. Releases the ball to Joe Hicks. 2 steps and drives it along. The vision was good, and Moller just draws the player, did that pretty well. Releases Murray Hamblin from the outer wing, squares it up towards centre forward, but there was no target. I don't know where the kick was going.
Still wasn't a good kick.
Carter, Orman Allen, back door, it's Figert. Flicks it wide, Archie. We've mentioned how often he drifts down from full back. Well, he does it time and time again. He's like a ruck rover playing from full back. McGowan overran it. Scott Lee, handballed under pressure. Healy just dribbled one out. McGowan again under pressure. Port Adelaide are attacking them on all quarters. McArdle squares it back and Carter sits underneath it. He'll take a good mark. It's just not working for the Bulldogs at the moment.
Comes out wide again, McGuinness. Outstanding first half of football. Good kick down the line. They really have overlapped beautifully today. Again, they'll sit up Fraser. Scotty Lee coming in hard as Steed. Steed for the football. Reckons he was taken a bit high. Yells a bit of abuse at the umpire.
And you can see the Port bench there. Damien Brown waiting for his first turn in the ruck today. Morgan sitting down and doing some stretching, and Scotty Hahn sitting next to the injured captain.
Now, Michael, Damien Brown, the Tasmanian ruckman, do you think with the heat they're just giving him a rest on the bench?
He hasn't seen much action at all today. I'm not even sure if he's got sweaty first time. Might be able to sneak off home without getting the shower today unless things change around for him.
Oh, Chalmers, he just had too much time then. Trent Orman-Allen to Carter. Carter's been terrific today from halfback, as has Feagit. Wide to Stengline. Sits nicely for him. Good collision. Play on, said the umpire, as O'Loughlin to Alan Didak. As it was Vine's correction. Lee forces it forward. 42 is Hamlin, had the ball smothered. Stevens, Moller. Gee, they're under pressure. You can feel it, don't you? Hamlin pushed off it by Tregenza. He delivers it forward into space. Hicks was the target, couldn't quite get there. Chalmers playing the man ruckman behind the play to Orman-Allen, who calls Stengline to play on. Didak presented himself. There's no long auction at this point. So he handballs over the top. Didak eventually gets it. The left footer goes on to the right boot. Forces it up high, 2-on-1 contest. No mark play on to the umpire. Here's Carter from halfback. Short, just squirts it out. Fraser to Didak, and it's a free kick. The umpire said he dropped it.
Umpire was a little bit blocked with his vision and probably thought that he dropped it.
There wasn't much in that sitting up here. Still, they need some favours.
They can't get around Chalmers and Feagit and Carter at halfback.
No, he's covered a bit of territory, this big fella, this afternoon.
Been good.
The kick, it's a wobbly one, but Carter, who's just saw him take a ball inside 50 a minute ago, comes out. Good work from behind. 59 is young Matty Slade. Carter's in there again fighting, as he usually does with this football.
Stengline. Hopwood just coming in late there and taking him over the line. Make him earn it, I suppose.
So 9.5 minutes into this third quarter. 71 plays 25. Good bounce again. Orman-Allen, the frustrated ruckman, goes again at it. Coming through hard again, Stengline. Handballs inside to Tregenza. Tregenza just releases the football without looking. Enough Bulldogs back there to clean up. Young Joey Hicks just pinpoints a kick. Stengline read it well as well. Coming across his bellow, dodges one way, weaves the other, and comes back onto his left leg. Ball is just hurt behind. Slow to get up. Good tap on by Danny Holm. They've looked after him this afternoon. Chalmers gives it across to Orman-Allen. Orman-Allen again looking for movement. He goes with the long bomb. Lee Didak, it's the oldest player versus the youngest player out here this afternoon. And a great clash it will be. Just gives it across to O'Loughlin. He's taken beautifully. Has to be holding the ball. It is. Good, well worked down there by Hopwood. He takes the free kick.
Brilliant tackle. Just watch the hips. Took him over the line.
Over the top to Moller, who's hurt, by the way. He really is feeling the effects of a heavier knock. Binky gave him another one to go on with. Marco Bello towards centre half forward. Big fly was Damien Hicks. Couldn't bring it down. Moller is just not happy with Binky behind play. As we go back, Vines streaks away. 2 bounces, ran through 3 lines. Make that 4, he's still going. It's holding the ball. Now, well, the Bulldog fans have got a right to be aggrieved. Moller, he is groggy and not well. Joe Hicks. Now they're starting to run the Bulldogs. They look a different outfit and they're squaring it up towards the corridor. It's working. Slade over the top is good play, and McArdle with 3 goals now finishes it off for the Bulldogs. Kick 2 in the second quarter, and now he gets his third. He's got 3 of 4.
Well, they just kept at it and at it then. I mean, that's what they've got to do. They've got to try and string some goals together. And with the pressure, they just kept applying and kept applying, eventually getting a loose ball and working it up the forward line in the piggy in the middle situation.
And fellas, Peter Jonas has just sat down. He's on ballers there. Rattling Moller coming off for a rest. And surprisingly for me, Marco Bello. To me, he was the one that was getting in and under, getting the ball and getting it on its way for Centrals. Started the little run, but he's headed to the bench for a rest.
I agree with you again, Michael. Bello was doing the hard stuff. So we see a blood rule being issued here once again to Danny Holm. He pointed to his elbow. And so Trent Orman-Allen looks like he's coming off also with maybe not the blood rule, maybe just a rest. He'll be replaced by Morgan. So Ford started the day at centre half forward.
And he'll need to be aggressive, Mark, because Port Adelaide have just intimidated the central forwards up to this point.
Yes, they have. It's 11-5-71, a 40-point margin over the Bulldogs, 4-7-31. Wakeland will now contest it with Chalmers. This time Chalmers gets his hands on the football. O'Loughlin's been moved into the middle. Again, we see Wakeland get the kick out. 59 running onto it. Young Matty Slade straightens the body up, kicks it in. He gets to see out of the corner of his eye again. Hicks. He's in within range. Just doesn't need to rush it.
13 minutes into this quarter, and it's probably the crucial time for Centrals now. If they are to get back into this contest, Hicks has to kick this goal, and then that's two together, string another one, and you're starting to put the momentum swinging your way.
So Hicks, bit of a stutter as he walks in, puts the ball on his way. It's a good action. He's got the distance. He's not happy with the results. Another behind to the Bulldogs, one they didn't need. With 4-8-32. The Maggies, 11-5-71.
Well, reasonably crucial kick that. Just really can sometimes drop the bundle of the whole side when you work so hard to get in the forward line. You must kick the goals.
Clayton from deep in defence towards Chalmers. That was the target. Big grab, drag down, and it's taken by Healy for the Bulldogs. Won the AFL Reserves medal last year, delisted by St Kilda. Can't help but think St Kilda have just thrown away a prodigious talent. Haven't utilised him correctly, you would think, and this is Gowans. Another one that St Kilda have given away. Fights hard for the ball. Fegan, desperately done, but under pressure. The kick strays. Healy drifts onto it, onto the left boot, tries to turn it around the corner. It bounces nicely for Carter. Out of defence, he just handballs to Steed, who heads towards the boundary line. Right way to go, and Stengline under pressure. Out on the full.
I think his brother was calling for that in the crowd. Nearly found him too.
So Michael Stevens, the young 19-year-old, will take the kick for the Bulldogs. And he goes short to Danny Stevens. Wasteful kick. Gowans, claimed by Clayton. Play on, says the umpire. What's the verdict? It's a bounce. We've had just on 15 minutes of the third term. It's 4-8 to 11-5. Port Adelaide in charge, but Central District are mounting a challenge.
They are, but you know, just with Danny Stevens there, he would be very disappointing with that kick. I mean, there was no pressure on him, and he just rubbed it on the ground. Didn't give his forward rule a lot of chance.
The Magpies will clear it again. Tregenza, quick hands inside. Off and running, it's Clayton. He takes two bounces. We've seen that a few times this afternoon. Then releases the kick. Coming out hard as Smith. He's out in front again. Now this is well within range. A prodigious kick of the football as Chalmers comes off for a well-deserved rest. And the big fella in Damien Brown has his first run for the afternoon. Now look at Smith, Tim. He just... I don't know what it is, but he goes back at least 40 metres back from the man on the mark.
Yeah, I've never seen anything wrong with that, Mark.
No, I never have. Too many players do get... If only I could kick that far. He'll kick from around about 60 metres, 55 metres. He does that. It's a high ball. Well, I reckon he's got the distance.
Oh, he's accurate, isn't he?
He's got the length nicely enough. That's his third. So he's on target, 1/4. That's what he wants.
I've seen Mark Clayton come through from defence a few times today, and just the cleaner possessions there of the Port Adelaide defence, Chalmers. And that's a big long kick by Clayton, out into plenty of space for Smith to move into. And he is quick. I mean, he's 10 or 15 yards. He's very quick. Got a nickname of Beak Sprints because that's all he can do, they reckon, at pre-season.
The 22-year-old from Whyalla kicks his third. Port Adelaide 12-5 to 4-8. The Bulldogs as Damien Brown, fresh legs from the bench, taps it down. Danny Stevens gets away a handball. This was Heath Hopwood. Off to McGowan on the left boot. Lifts the eyes, looks for McArdle, presents himself as an option. Second effort was pretty good. Back now to Hopwood. Short one. Well, I don't know where it was going, but Slade did well. Now to Ford. Gets a chance for his first goal and drills it right through the middle. So Centrals haven't thrown in the towel, that's for sure, as Ford gets his first and Central Districts get their fifth.
And Ford is going to get a chance to celebrate that goal sitting on the bench. The interchange already called, and Daniel Holmes, who's had his elbow repaired from the blood rule, will come back onto the ground.
was just about to say that might give Ford a little bit of confidence. You know, he's struggled today, and to get a goal on the board just does lift your head a little. So unfortunately, he's had to come off.
5 possessions, Keenan Ford.
77 plays, 38. Nearly 18 minutes into this third quarter. Again, the ruckman will do duel. Brown, this time beaten by Wakeland over the top again. Stevens tries to thump it back, couldn't get it. Vines overruns it. In there is O'Loughlin. So they really have mixed it up today in that midfield for the Magpies. Again, O'Loughlin's in there. Mad Dog Morgan throws an arm in. Good umpiring, just the ball's still alive, so they haven't blown the whistle. Comes back, Holm was in there as well. The handball hasn't hit the target. Barback was in there as well, just taken without the football. Comes back, McGowan throws it inboard. 59 again is Slade. Ball's knocked down. Playing in front was Holm, but the free kick's been found. Will come back to Clayton.
Clayton's been good, Tim, hasn't he?
Good game. Very good game so far. His disposal's been relatively good. I say that as he just misses the target, but has been good up forward.
Funny enough, the option wasn't bad, because if it didn't make the target, it was always going to the boundary. You just wonder whether he could play a half-back flank or a back pocket in the AFL, Tim. Is pace a factor?
Well, that's sort of been the, I suppose, the thought pattern amongst the recruiting agents, that he perhaps lacks a bit of leg speed, but, you know, I've been pretty impressed with him.
Yeah, I have too, and there's a lot worse than him playing
well,
AFL.
I agree.
Gowans towards McArdle. He missed the target and gave away a free kick, so at least he's presenting himself, McArdle, Tim.
He's been good. He really has been good. He's crashed into everything. He's made plenty of contests. I'd been impressed with him.
I'd encourage that. I think a forward for the central side has got to crash into an opposition defender and hurt them, and open up the play for the running players.
There's nothing better in a side with aggressive forwards, and McArdle's doing that. I really have been impressed with him.
Clayton distributes the ball wide. He's headed towards the boundary line. Morgan was that target. Healy, just clever enough to hold the ball. Hasn't been his biggest afternoon. He looks for an option. 2-on-1. I don't think he took the right one in the finish, but I guess McArdle is the only one. He's their go-to player at the moment, McArdle, because at least he's presenting himself. Sting lying in front of Holm was good work. Tregenza streaks away. O'Loughlin, watch him go. He can take them all on. Over the top to Fraser. Brosnan will chip in. He just needed a quick handball, Brosnan, and he had 2 running wide. It might come unstuck. It has not worked. He had 2 there. Scotty Lee off the ground, and back it comes. Hotwood got one high. Free kick, if you don't mind, umpire.
Well, Stevie Brosnan in the end probably thought, I've made a mistake here. And you don't make up for it by doing that, that's for sure. But Hopwood showed a lot of courage today. He's back into a couple of marks. I've been very impressed with him holding his head up.
And what about this little Guerra?
Oh, he's probably been Central's best.
Looks all right, along with Marco Bello, who's found the ball. And, well, the umpire's just handed out a warning to Danny Stevens by Craig Doddridge. Well, that was a wasteful kick. McArdle was the go-to player again, and it's becoming predictable for the Bulldogs. Wider still. Hicks, and he's out of play as we go to results from game from other matches. South by 23 points, Nails.
Yes, they're doing well, and we see down the bay the Tigers up by 17 points.
And the Eagles by 22 points over Sturt. That's been a good game so far.
It'll be interesting if Sturt lose their first 2 for the year. Got a bit of trouble. We cover them in our game of the day next week at 3 o'clock. Join us then on ABC Sport as Chris Gowans, the recruit from St Kilda, goes towards full forward. Carter, Hicks over the top. Holmes strolls into an open goal and kicks the Bulldogs 6. They're 6-8. Port Adelaide 12-5 on ABC Sport.
Well, they really have worked really hard for their goals, and Danny Holm wants to go up and take Carter on and just get on with the game, boys. Gotta keep getting goals. Good work by Hicks there. Good hands over the top. He had the sense of mind. Centrals have worked really hard in this quarter to try and get back into the contest. They have gained some margin. And they've just got to try and get one or two goals before the three-quarter time break.
The umpire just having a word to Danny Holm, and just letting Carter know how he feels about that goal. You see Morgan overruns the football. He's back in the air for a good second there, but good at ground level was McGowan. Chips the handball out. They go forward again, the Bulldogs. But once again with an ill-directed kick inside 50. Sees the ball out over the boundary line. Hickswell played the first half virtually out of a back pocket, been moved up into the key position at full forward. Really has given them something up there in this quarter. The throw in, Brown. In front was McArdle. Ball comes out wide to Alfie Steed. Steed, left leg goes wide. He's got no runners out there except for a couple of Bulldogs. But fortunate for him, he has found the boundary line. A good crowd here this afternoon. We're live from Elizabeth Oval until 5 o'clock. Molo just warming up on the boundary. He's had a bit of a rest. Took quite a heavy knock there in that opening minutes of this quarter. McGowan comes in, keeps his balance, releases the football up forward. Again, Hicks. Back there again was Archie. An outstanding game this afternoon has been Archie. Figa dives on top of the football. Umpire just sits and waits and penalises the player on the bottom of the pack. Once again, a pretty tough decision. Figa's committed the body. And two Centrals players, fellas, they just sit on top of him. It's a hard call.
I guess the rule is, Tim, if you drag it in underneath yourself, you have to get it out, otherwise it is a free. On the law of the game, that's it.
So again, the disposal of the Bulldogs today really has been atrocious. Had an opportunity in that first quarter when they were 6 behind, so really they kicked themselves to a good score to be very competitive with this Magpies team.
They've worked hard, Centrals, this quarter, and to just miss a couple of opportunities, they could have been a lot closer.
24 minutes into the third term, and Central have outscored Port Adelaide in this quarter. Stenglein from behind. Tregenza tried to get the handball away. Scotty Lee did very well to hold it in the area. It was Didak, flicked out the handball, McArdle. Well, he had 2 or 3 options to go to, and in the finish, he chose Murray Hamblin. He plays on quickly, deep to the pocket, and out it comes to Damien Hicks, the 27-year-old, who kicked 9 goals last year in 19 games, and he squares it up to Gowans, but he must come back. The umpire had blown time off, and take 2. Do you mind?
Well, he just hasn't come back across his mark, and the umpires are very pedantic on that rule.
Well, it does seem to be a rule that can penalise the team with the ball. 11 kicks, 4 handballs. Hicks has been amongst it. He's been productive. Missed one just a few minutes ago, and this is an important kick for the Bulldogs. It dropped short. Brown couldn't quite get hands to the ball. Slade towards the line, brings it back inboard. Steve over the top of it, did very well to hold himself on the contest. Carter released and chips it short over the top to Tregenza, who can run onto it, but he's cut off at the pass. Vera picks it up, a hurried kick with the left foot forward. Morgan couldn't take it, but he's been given a free kick to the umpire. He copped a push.
Play on.
Brosnan. Guerra smothered. Brosnan again. Did pretty well. Good courage shown as Scott Lee goes after it. Brown came at him, and Scotty Lee just toe-poked it forward. McGuinness to Brown. Now Fraser. The kick is short and pinpointed. So Lachlan on the boundary line, who's looking for the next option, looks ahead for a big forward, goes back, resets. Well, that was not the option he was after. The kick was poor, and Gowans drops into the hole, Tim, and marks.
In the end, that was a very poor kick. Ricky will be disappointed with that because there was 2 or 3 Centrals players in that hole, and he just had no option. He should have just held onto it.
Stevens comes up running with the football. Hicks went one way. Carter comes in. No, it's not. It's Archie. He's been outstanding. How many times have I said that this afternoon? Comes inboard. A chance again for Clayton. He loves bouncing that football, running through the middle of the ground. Lays it out for Steve. Steve's taken high. The umpires missed that. Across to Fraser. Fraser over to O'Loughlin. O'Loughlin one step. Turns, kicks. And it's a major to O'Loughlin. That's his first for the afternoon. And Magpies just kick one back.
The Centrals have worked really hard, but they just haven't quite got the opportunities to get enough goals on the board. It's been Clayton's quarter. He's come through that middle corridor a fair few times, found targets. That time Alfie Steve made the contest. Fraser crumbed beautifully. And off one step, Ricky O'Loughlin, half forward, must kick your goals, and he did that.
While that goal was being kicked, I think Stephen Williams a little disappointed with Simon Tregenza's commitment to pick up the ball, but he's going to take a little rest on the bench.
Chalmers, who rucked for the first 2.5 quarters, on the bench having a rest. 13-5, plays 6-9. Port Adelaide generally finish off pretty well in time on. Moller and Brown, nobody got hand to that ball. It was Fraser releasing the ball out of the middle. Hamlin, Hopwood it was, now Holm. Well, Port Adelaide's defence has been pretty good. They've dropped back into that area and they just stopped the central forwards from running onto it. Damien Hicks now gets the run of the ball just inside 50. Can he be run down? Archie, cool as a cucumber, heads towards the boundary line. And I think he hasn't played a bad game either.
Well, he's a very young man in his first season. You would have thought that he's played about 200 games at fullback the way he conducts himself. Hicks has given him a little bit more trouble this quarter, I thought, since he's been moved down there. But he still holds his own.
Ball's in once again. 24 is Moller, back on after a short spell. Well, the inside 50s this quarter, fellas, has gone the Bulldogs' way. Has been 19-6 in this quarter, so they've had plenty of opportunities to get inside 50. Once again, the Magpies' defence, led brilliantly by Carter and Archie. They've seen the best of it. Well, Tim, we hear this three-quarter time siren there. And just at the moment, just the Bulldogs just too far on top, or too far behind.
What about that turn? Port Adelaide came back, Tim, but Central District really took the game up to them.
I thought they really had a go. They had to. They had to really make an impact in this quarter to have an effect on the game. And I thought they did that. They really would be kicking themselves for a couple of missed opportunities in front of goal where they could have been a lot closer at three-quarter time.
So at three-quarter time in the match of the day on ABC Sport, it's Port Adelaide 13-5, Central District 6-9. Stay with us. We're live in the final term. All the action of SANFL footy live on ABC Sport.
Start of the last quarter here, Elizabeth Oval. The Maggies are in charge. 43 plays 45. The bounce down. Chalmers back on with Moller. Ball's down. Bello quickly inboard. Try to get the handball. Decides for the kick. Comes out wide. This young player, up and coming, Didak, came on about a 10-minute mark of that second quarter. And is showing glimpses of being a real player for the future.
Maybe Darren Lehman fancies himself as a special comments man.
Well, so he's not a bad cricketer. Don't know about football. Comes down Bello. Couldn't take it. Fraser did. Oh, 1-2 grabs. As the umpire paid the mark, he has. Garita really has shown that he can play football at this level. For the Bulldogs, it's high. Magpies are going quite content to bring the ball to ground. They have the numbers down there. Again, 52. It just turns in beautiful. Didak again, left leg goes up forward. Big grab. Rozzo's up there, takes it, gets up quickly and gets the kick up forward. O'Loughlin just pulled the arm out. Bit of a clash of legs there. 62 Hopwood. Well, he's been in the wars this afternoon, kicks it out wide. A chance again, the Bulldogs straighten up, come in the middle. Danny Holm, the captain, takes it.
Just have a look at Brosnan get up here. Beautiful sit, kept his eyes on it. Brought it down with him. Great grab.
That was a good grab, wasn't it? Put the saddle on the radar. Clayton interfered with, gets the free kick, no question about that. Danny Stevens, the offender. And I guess he's going to figure Tim high amongst your best players, Clayton.
Definitely at the moment, been very good.
Brown, well underneath that one. It falls out the back door. O'Loughlin, best first-year player for the Magpies last year. Well, that was just a training drill. And he pops it through and gets his second. Or gets his second. Thanks, Tim.
It's been a good player, Ricky. Like I said, specialist half-forward flank. You've got to be able to kick those goals, and he does it so well. Beautifully balanced. He's just giving applause to the guys up the field that did all the work. And again, you know, Didak, the way he used the football, it's very impressive. Clayton through the centre of the ground. He's played corridor football today, Clayton. And that's why he's being so damaging.
Brett Chalmers also had a good afternoon. Just trying to look at a few positions that the Bulldogs have won. There hasn't been many. Bello takes it. Picked up quickly by Chalmers. The umpire will come in and ball up once again.
As we go down to Michael Parsons with the Central District bench.
Yeah, Mrs. Stevens wouldn't be happy. Both our boys sitting on the bench, Daniel and Michael, and they're sharing it with Daniel Wakeman. He'll no doubt come on and have a run in the ruck later in the quarter.
Feagert, cross half back, goes out wide. Hopwood takes it, takes on O'Loughlin, gets it around him, then tackled by O'Loughlin. Coming in hard, the Iceman, head down, turns straight up. Love to see that from a player. Comes up forward, Big Smith's there, couldn't take it. They have enough of the back there. Hicks cleans up, comes out wide with the kick. A chance again for the Bulldogs. Just need to pick it up. The ball just needs to sit. It does. The umpire maybe played a free kick here. It'll go back, and Hamlin will take the free kick.
Back on stand line now.
Yeah, they swapped over in the third term. Swap wings, and he's back there again.
I guess you've got to say that Peter Jonas has tried everything to get Central District up in this match, and sometimes the players just don't fire up, but he has tried everything. Port Adelaide have been in control for most of this match. Tregenza, who had a rest during the third quarter, the heat was oppressive. to Carter, to Brown at centre half forward, presents himself, brings the ball down, needs some relief, gets a handball of sorts away. Brosnan couldn't quite get to the errant handball, and now it's home. Couple of steps, drills it. Oh, well done, Feagert.
Story of the day, though, isn't it?
Yep.
Centrals have had plenty of it, and they have been fired up. They're really having a crack, but just their disposals let them down.
Feagert to Chalmers. Who's your best big man, Tim, on the ground?
Oh, Brett Chalmers.
We might talk to Michael Parsons in just a moment about the rucks and their influence. As Chalmers pushes it to Clayton, who brings the ball down as he should. Fraser roves it superbly. Well, his first quarter was just terrific, and he's been solid throughout the rest of the match. Steed missed what he should have taken. Now needs a second effort, but Holm paddles it forward. Into space it goes. Joe Hicks takes the long option and goes out wide to McGowan. Forced onto the left, he just chips it up. Vardy underneath it, not coming. Here comes Damien Hicks. Well down from the forward line. He's out on the outer wing. Now, can the Bulldogs mount a challenge? They need a couple of goals to get back into the contest. Lifts the eyes and measures it. Healy, 70 out. A high bomb towards the full forward line. Yarchi underneath that one, just heads towards the boundary line. Did everything that he had to. Carter over the top to Feagert. Well, the three of those fellows have combined beautifully along with Clayton. They've been impenetrable for most of the day. The kick finds Brosnan in front of Joe Hicks, and the umpire says that's good enough.
It's a good grab. He had to take it. The numbers were with Central, so if they had it spilled out, they would have ran it away.
Brosnan kicks up once again. The back was a raider, couldn't take it. Hopwood couldn't get there either. Good tap on Glaus Fraser to run onto the football. Bello thumps it back. Again, Hopwood goes out wide with the handball. Play running support from Moller. Moller down the line. The kick wasn't good by the big ruckman. And it's out of bounds on the full.
What about this one, Tim?
They might have won on points.
TKO. Bellows pretty tough, and McGuinness is fired up.
Reaching for the Guernsey.
The action live on ABC Sport from Elizabeth Oval. As Smith, who's kicked 3 goals, 1 today, paddles it forward, crashing through Healy. They just need a lift from him. He's the impact player. Today he hasn't had much of an impact. Hicks to McGowan is good work. He's forced to retreat. Swings the ball back down. They're playing the corridor, at least the Bulldogs. They're giving themselves a chance. Holm plays on quickly, but short to forward. The Springvale recruit, who's played in a couple of premierships for Springvale, and they're hoping he can bring some of that magic to Elizabeth Oval. Feagert releases northeast. Over the top he goes. Tregenza sprints away, chips it up, and Damien Brown doesn't let him down.
The grab.
Feeds it off quickly. Tregenza follows on. Slick handball through. Here it comes, Alan Didak. A long one, but wide and a point the result. So Port Adelaide 14-6. Central are 6-9 on the ABC scoreboard.
Well, we're 7 minutes into this last quarter, and you just need a goal to settle down both sides. Central's to get back in it, and Port just to steady the ship, but it's been a real hard battle of defences today. Port's defence, Archie in amongst 3 players, then just managed to get his fist through and get a spoil. It's been good.
Kick back in. The Bulldogs come running through the middle once again. It's a high ball. Fegan will take this. He just dumps it down. The Bulldogs had the numbers at ground level. Again, Wakeland kicks it up. Hicks takes it, just pals it out once. Comes up with it again. He's hotly pursued there by North East. Good little chip, quick across. Finds McArdle. He just needs to pick it up and get to his boot. He does that. That's his fourth. He's been one forward. That maybe can hold his head high tonight.
Well, he certainly has. He's made every contest a winner for himself today, and that time that was good work by Hicks. I mean, North East was right on him, wasn't they?
Yeah. He's given a contest every time.
That's great work by Hicks in the end. I mean, North East just was not giving him a centimetre, and he knew that, well, I've got to get it there somehow. I'll get it off the deck.
$15 goals last season for McArdle. 17 goals from 15 games, that was. He's got 4 today. He's opened the season pretty well. I guess with Conway going to Sturt, he's going to get more of an opportunity in the forward line. 14-6 plays 7-9. 8, almost 9 minutes into the final term at Elizabeth Oval. And Moller, who's rucked so very well today against Chalmers. It's been a line-hearted effort by both players. This time it's Chalmers who thumps it down. Didak to Steed, who crashes the ball deep into the forward line. Smith, who has 3, turns it around the corner. Make that 4. He likes it. The goal umpire likes it. It's through. 4 goals to Smith, 1 a quarter. And Port Adelaide are 15-6. Central are 7-9.
Well, it's pretty heartbreaking, isn't it? You're trying to make an impact on the scoreboard, and Port Adelaide just forced it out of the centre through Steed and Didak with quick hands. Steed backed up with a kick. Now, this is a crucial mistake by Guy. So the drop mark allowed Smith in with the crumbs. Smith had conceded the contest in the mark, and then it ended up just bouncing up into his lap. So Paul Geister, who's been pretty good today, just be a little disappointed with that one.
Well, I mentioned there at half-time, fellas, Vardy's only had 5 possessions up to that stage. He's only had 1 more possession since that time, so really a bit out of sorts.
Well, sometimes things can compound, don't they? And for Peter at the moment, it's going to be a little bit hard to get back into it, but
I think the humiliation was public, and I think had it been quiet, wouldn't have been such an issue. Or do you think, Tim, it needed to be public?
oh, I don't know. That's a hard one to judge, that one. But look, I suppose when you're at an AFL club and a 2-team town, you're going to be fairly public, I suppose.
Bulldogs go forward once again, our favourite from the kick. Quick kick out of the middle. In front was Hicks. He's given them an option up forward since half-time. Just found a little bit of space, but quickly onto the boot. Tim, and in the front. Again, you're just favoured by those kicks.
They just keep bulldozing it forward. They're certainly not throwing in the towel. It's been commendable their second half.
So Hicks will come in. Just stabs at it. Wasn't a real good kick, but I think he's got the result. No, he hasn't. No, he just stabbed at that. Didn't really kick through it. We'll see the Bulldogs. They're 7-10 now, 52. The Maggies just hang on to that lead. 15-6, 96.
I'd like him to work on his set shots now, Damien. He probably wasn't expecting to play up forward today, but go away at training and just get 8 out of 10. You make yourself a really good forward.
Well, a couple of years ago, Tim, he was their leading forward. I think he played mainly in defence last year. Often you just need a bit of confidence. Yes, this Didak is something special. Fiora's been drafted, and you suspect that we'll only see this young man for a short time. Hahn over the top of it, battles hard. So too Herrera forces it out. McGuinness, the ball flicks up nicely. He's 50 out, and he goes towards goal. It's good enough. It's coming around. Beautifully done right through the middle for McGuinness, and he's got his fourth.
Hasn't he got great goal sense? He knew that he had an opportunity to break away from that pack. When he knew he was clear, which probably was some good voice around him with Brown and good shepherd from Brown, and also Scotty Hahn in there fighting hard. He just knows where the goals are, and he knows how to kick them. He's 4th today, and he's been a very, very good player for the Magpies.
Well, their record hasn't been that flash out here, Port Adelaide. I think they won here last year, but before that, they hadn't won in 5 or 6 encounters before that.
Yeah, since 94, I believe.
Yeah, they're really burying Central District now.
Well, it's not often you get that opportunity, Elizabeth, so take the moment.
Interesting you say that. They played 8 games here last year, Central, and won 2 and lost 6. And before that, they were invincible out here.
Wasn't a great season for them, 99 though.
Taken high was Moller to come down with the football again. Quick handballs out, and there again is McGowan. Couldn't take it. Well done again, Dragenza, that slips it out to the running O'Loughlin. O'Loughlin just brings it back inboard to Brown. With him was a Raider. Back there was Fraser. Again we see McGuinness lining up for the goal. This time couldn't control the kick. So another behind to the Magpies.
13 minutes into the last term now, and you say they are going to steady up and win this game here at Elizabeth, but Centrals just have to keep at it, keep their head up, keep working hard, get some goals on the board.
Look, they're going to have to kick 10 goals to win from here, Central.
Just to keep it in context, though, you don't want the game to blow out in the last 10 minutes, David.
Fair enough. Well, Centrals have had 6 more possessions to this point of the game than Port Adelaide, and they trail by 51 points.
Well, we've spoken about that earlier with probably the disposal. Hasn't been what they would like today. Probably they haven't run to the space enough either.
Stevens forward, Chalmers thumps it down. The Iceman Hahn couldn't quite get there. Gowans was taken high, but the umpire let it float. The crowd called for a free. That one was high, and the umpires picked that one up.
Doesn't that happen a lot? When you see one players get frustrated, so they react. I mean, the first one was there. It was Central's free kick. It was around the neck.
Steve's hurt. So Fraser will take the kick. Squares it up for the big fellas to have a big fly. Brosnan it was. You know, he's good in the air.
Got good hands, hasn't he?
Look, I think back to round 20 last year against Norwood when he dislocated his shoulder and he really looked a mess.
It was actually a bit earlier in the season when he clashed with Sanford.
That's right.
Yeah, in the middle of the year. It was a huge clash and both players sort of come off a bit ordinary. But you're right. I mean, Power have seen enough in him to say that he can play AFL football this year.
And I think we've seen enough of him to suggest that he can too. We'll test the kicking. He's deliberate. He stays over the ball. It's not a bad style. Just slows momentum at the final wash, but he's pretty accurate and puts it right through the middle. 4 goals to Brosnan. That's a good return from a forward. And Port Adelaide are going to win this at a counter. They're just almost 10 goals ahead and doing it easily.
Well, I think Smith and Brosnan have been good targets today. There's something to kick to up there. And Stevie Brosnan, he's a bit casual on his kicks for goal, but pays off.
Michael Parsons is down on the boundary line, just checking out a bit of the action.
Trying to get David Brown to talk to us, but he's gone shy on me.
David Brown, righto. Michael, whenever you're ready.
Yeah, we've got him. He's finally come out of his little hole. Brown, he'd be pretty pleased with the scoreboard out here at the Ponderosa.
Yeah, well, the boys played well for most of the day, so it's important we finish it off now.
What do you think's been good for Port today?
I think generally overall, the back line playing's been fantastic. Trigger in the middle, and our forward line's worked pretty well with Brosnan up there, so it's been good.
You next week?
Yeah, should be right.
Excellent.
Thanks, Michael. Thanks for David Brown. Late in the fourth quarter, 16 minutes in, David Brown, Tim, pretty relaxed.
Well, it takes a lot to get Brownie stirred up, let me tell you. So you can see that it's important to finish the game off, though.
Carter again at the football, tries to break through the pack, gives it across. He's threw it across there to North East. It's a high ball. Again, Fraser down there will take on the Central's forward. It comes back Stengline. Just beautiful to watch. He has this afternoon. Again, they go forward through Fraser. The kick's good out in front of Brosnan. Brosnan takes it. Gets the head around quickly. You see players running down. He finds McGuinness. Now McGuinness can take off here. 55 metres, can see the Smith one-on-one. I'd love to see him take a mark. Gave him an opportunity. One pick-up off the ground, O'Loughlin, around his body. The forwards really haven't shared it much this afternoon. That's his third. And really, they have a key forwards today in Smith, McGuinness, O'Loughlin and Brosnan who have kicked most of their score.
Like you said, Mark, it's great when you can share it around, and they've all sort of chipped in with their 3s and 4 goals today. That's a good hallmark of a good forward line, and it's really worked well today. They've all worked in tandem with each other. It's been a very good understanding up there, but the drive from defence, they're always winning the ball there and switching play and moving it quickly down there to give the forwards a one-on-one chance. Very important now, as I said, David, Central's just got to keep hitting back with goals because otherwise the margin can really blow out. 20
possessions to O'Loughlin. I've just had a quick look through my Port list, Tim. 10 very good players for Port Adelaide. It's going to be difficult to pick perhaps the 3 best out of those. That's your job. Didak, clever hands to Chalmers. Around the corner he goes. McGuinness, who must rate high amongst Port Adelaide's best players, goes towards centre half forward. Lobs it into the space. Weira thumps it down. Vines tried to just force it forward into the run of O'Loughlin, who does so now. Claimed in the tackle. Hahn, 51 metres out, one step, pushes it up towards the goals. He's made the distance. Pretty good kick, but off to the right for a point. Now, Tim, we might ask you, who are your best players? Are you able to do it this far out?
I think
We might go to the scores first. South by 19 points over West. That's got to be an upset. Maybe before the game he's 16, not quite 17.
Okay, so he'll be one of the 17-year-olds picked up.
Yes, he will, I guess. A Blackfriars college kid, and that's a good mark too. So you just look over the ground and you see Stenglein, and
He's been good, hasn't he?
well, you can see why he's been chosen for an AFL career.
Well, James Fantasia's here today. I saw him before the game, and you know, as well as looking at new players and new recruits, he'd certainly be proud of this guy that he's picked up.
I think as he fills out and just strengthens up a little bit. I mean, he's only young. I think he's currently only 19, and I think another year or two he fills out to be a very damaging player.
To have a guy that tall playing on your wing is such an advantage,
With pace.
and a good marking ability.
Well, I was about to say he's not a bad kick either, because he's put it right through the middle and he kicks his first. So Stenglein just advances Port Adelaide. They're 19-8, Central District 7 goals 10.
Well, this is what Peter Jonas wouldn't have wanted. They had a real red-hot go in the third quarter, tried to get themselves back into the contest, didn't quite get enough goals on the board, but now the last 10 minutes, which I said was dangerous, where a blowout can occur, and unfortunately the margin at the moment is 12 goals, 72 points, and I don't think Peter Jonas would be pleased with the way they've run the rest of the contest out.
Well, 22 minutes into this last quarter. You see the umpire just hanging onto the football, getting his balance right, then puts it down hard. Good bounce, gives the players a chance to jump at him. McGowan tries to give the handball, taken as he was trying to get the kick out, forced the error, comes out wide again. Then Gowans, who started so well in that first half, died out in the third quarter, gets another possession. Again, the Bulldogs. They have numbers now. Oh, Northeast. Careers into the Centrals player, number 42 in Murray Hamlin. Hamlin goes wide, Ford takes it. 50 metres out. Maybe kicking into a slight breeze, if any, here at Elizabeth Oval this afternoon. So Ford's got one so far. That was in the last quarter. He's looking to really to give it away, not really concentrating on where he wants to kick it. And then he just chips it up, which gives Steed a chance to take it. Carter will come in and do it. Carter just puts a little ball out. The Speedsters head home. Which one will take it? It is. It's Stevens with him closely. Oh, he just could not quite keep it in, was Didak. So again, the Magpies really have, in these conditions, David, have worked so hard to avert the result.
Spot on, I agree. Port Adelaide are going to be very hard to beat this year. Central District have recruited pretty well, and Port Adelaide have made them look second rate today and have forced a lot of errors. Free kick comes back to Healy. Welcome back after almost 40 games of AFL football with St Kilda. Fegert, who's been very good in defence today, double teams it with McGuinness, over the top again. Steed flicks it forward, Morgan runs onto it. He started the game on the bench and spent most of the game there. Released with fresh legs, he's relished it in this final term. Vines, the Queensland recruit, who really has made a name for himself at Alberton, puts it into space. Smith thumps it down, here's Steed. Oh, I like a lot about his game today, and that's a good finish as well. But it just bounced the wrong side of the post. He was a little unlucky.
The leg break, Shane would say, that broke particularly well, that one too, didn't it? So not the bounce that Alf Steve was looking for.
Taking a bit of turn.
It is pretty hard, isn't it?
Number 8 coming through is Daniel Stevens. He too started in the forward line. They're kicking the ball out, gives across the lead. He's made some changes today, Jonas, just trying to create something, but the only one that's really paid off, I think, is McArdle to full forward and Hicks to centre half forward. Chance again for Hicks, the bounce favours him. He's been taken by Northeast. He'll go for the boundary line. Figure comes across, to support the handball down the line. 43 again, he's been outstanding. My best is Corey Archie. O'Loughlin. Beautiful mark going back with the football. Come up with a bit of cramp. Sees the player in board and Brown, gives it across to him. Mad Dog Morgan will take this, run around his player. He does that. Morgan now releases the football. Little nudge. Was it enough? The umpire has seen it. He's paid the mark. It's back to McGuinness. Trying to give it back to Stenkline. This time straightens the body up, heads home towards Smith. Smith again just careers in the back of number 15 and Joey Hicks.
Joe Hicks hasn't been Central's worst player today, Tim, either.
No, he's held his own.
Now I'll ask you to give it some thought, because it's not going to be easy to find very good players for Centrals. They've had some battlers, but I guess you measure it by players who maybe have won their position or better, or at least broke even.
That's probably a fair call, I think, David, but it's not easy tipping best players, but it's not easy tipping winners either, and you can do that on the ABC. www.abc.net.au. Now, is that a /local /SA footy? So get on the net and try your tips out on there.
You'll be the ABC's IT manager soon, Tim.
Thank you.
Brosnan brings it back into the corridor. Did it well. Morgan lifts the eyes, looks for the target. It's the Iceman. Hahn over the top. Fraser in the double play, and Hahn goes around the corner. Well, this is a training drill now. Centrals have stopped, and Port Adelaide are just finishing off beautifully. They're 20 goals 11. Centrals are 7-10. And I think there's only moments left in this match.
Well, like you said, it was very important that Centrals just kept being competitive in this last term, but just the last 10 or 12 minutes, they've let their bundle drop, and it allows easy goals like this one. That's just the old 1-2. Do that in circle work, David.
Well, that's what it was, and you worry that the physical vigour has gone out of the game completely. The attention to the players, like, they've lost them, they've lost sight of them, and it must be a worry for Peter Jonas. In the third year of his contract, with this year and next year to go, they really do need to fire up.
After a great start of the season last week, beating Sturt at Unley, they'll be disappointed with this effort.
McGuinness also been good today. But you may be right with Hicks. I think David Hicks did start on Binky for the day, and Binky has been taken off. If there has been a quiet Port Adelaide player today, it has been Byron Binky.
Yeah, I was saying I thought Hicks wasn't Central District's worst player. I thought he'd feature amongst their better players. If, in fact, you could really name too many of them. I think Marco Bellows found a bit of the ball, and Radley Mola has fought it out hard. I think Hicks and Raider have worked pretty hard as well.
McArdle's probably been the pick of them.
Yeah, and that's probably a pretty good call too. So here's O'Loughlin over the shoulder. Now, they're not Leroy's in Port Adelaide, Tim, are they?
Well, what happens is there's so many opportunities now that perhaps sometimes you do tend to go a bit lazy on it. 13 goals up at the moment.
78 points. You could not have expected this.
Certainly not this early in the season, where a lot of patterns haven't been set just yet, but certainly a disappointing day for the Dogs.
The Bulldogs come in again. Lee's up there. Carter takes a good mark over the back, as he's done.
Another one who's had a reasonable day, Mark.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, it's a bit of a blue here.
Well, you've got to remember they're still going to meet again later this year.
And the umpire's just letting it go. He's standing away watching while these boys have a bit of a wrestle match on the boundary. We'll get a bit of support now. We're back with the football. Brosnan's in there, throws the football across. The umpire has seen that. He's paid the free kick against the Magpies. Stevens wants to get the ball moving quickly. It comes back. They come back inside. Hicks again will take it. Takes one, but he's got nothing up forward. Has to go back with the handball. Healy. Well, they really are going around in circles here. Back to Healy again. He just released the football and just picked out Fegan as though he was out there by himself and he was wearing a different jumper, but he wasn't. He was in a Magpies jumper, so Healy gets it back to Brown. Brown down the line. He's got the runner. Gives it out to Brosnan. Brosnan takes it, just sees out of the corner of his eye. Player by himself, which is the Iceman. Takes the mark, but I think the umpire's already blown the siren, fellas. And the Magpies have won this game and won it well.
Well, Tim, you've got to suggest that Port Adelaide today were just magnificent, and Central after not scoring in the first 1 3/4 quarters, really struggled up forward, and Port Adelaide made them look second-rate.
Well, Port Adelaide finished it off. They finished out winners by 13 goals, and that would have been very pleasing in the end. After a pretty tight third quarter, where Central's tried to come back into the contest, Port Adelaide steadied up and won it by 13 goals.